Very, very, very pleasant to you on this Friday afternoon. Good Friday afternoon to you. On Friday, October 2nd, 2020, sun splashed and resplendent outside for the fifth playing weekend of the college football season, the second playing weekend for the Southeastern Conference, and finally the second playing weekend for the hometown Tigers. That feels like hitting the fight song over, doesn't it, Drew?
It really does. I mean, it feels like it's been forever because it actually has been forever. 28 days since the last time the Tigers took the field. It'll feel great to finally watch some Tiger football action tomorrow.
That is Drew Barrett. He is with me producing and co-hosting, a man of many, many talents today, and he will exhibit every single one of them between now and 6 o'clock. And I already have had one Wi-Fi issue. So, Drew, you could really exhibit a whole lot more talents today by being the singular host and the producer. As if the Wi-Fi doesn't act right. It is settled down now, though. Boy, every time, always the day before, the mic checks, everything works just fine. You kind of do the audition, the run through, a walk through, and then about 2 minutes before we start the show, the Wi-Fi wants to act crazy. I'm Brett Norsworthy. Glad you're with us on Sportstime, and I'm glad you are listening to us on old reliable AM 560, 96.1, and now on 98.5. And Dave Woloshin will join us on all those frequencies at some point today from Dallas, where he is off to, and I think either getting close to being there or there, and he'll join us at some point to talk the Tigers and the Ponies tomorrow in, I think, one of the great college football games on the schedule tomorrow. It's not just SEC-centric. It's not really that, air quotes here, national-centric. Everything's mostly in conference play. Very few big intersectional matchups this year. We know why. And tomorrow, the Tigers and SMU on the campus of Southern Methodist University at 2:30 will be a big one, and it will be someone will take kind of advantage. Someone will get a little distance from the other one tomorrow in that game. We know what last year on the first weekend of November that game did, and what that weekend did is that was the game day weekend, one that people will never forget, and how enjoyable and special that it was. Maybe not quite the theatrics around tomorrow's matchup, but the stakes are still huge, Drew.
Yeah, the stakes are still just as high, just due to the fact that there is an actual possible chance of a group of 5 team making it into the college football playoff. I know that the Pac-12 and the Big Ten now going to attempt to play later this month and next month could put a damper on that, but if they have issues, they don't get enough games in for the committee to really see a good sample size, then there's still a possibility that a Memphis or SMU, Central Florida, Cincy could take that 4th and final spot. And with not a full 12-game schedule, every game counts twice or 3 times as more. There's no way you could get there with the one loss, and the magnitude of this game is reflecting not just the way we're talking about it, but also just checking the lines real quick. I mean, it's now a pick 'em at most sites, so it's going to be a great game and a huge matchup. And I think we have lost Brett Norsworthy for a second. He'll hopefully try to reconnect, but Brett is exactly right. There are a lot of great matchups this weekend, especially in the SEC. A big-time matchup will probably be the Georgia-Auburn game, and you're sitting here wondering exactly how that matchup is going to turn out. You know, Georgia ultimately got the job done. They ended up getting it done in Fayetteville last week. So much questions around at the quarterback position. Will JT Daniels be cleared and be ready to go tomorrow? And Auburn, while they got the job done against Kentucky, didn't look as good as I think that a lot of people expected them to going into the season. So it will be good. Another big SEC matchup that I'm kind of interested in. And if you know me at all and kind of my weird love to Derek Mason, is Vandy and LSU. I thought Vandy and their new quarterback Seals had a great performance against Texas A&M last week, and LSU coming off the heartbreaker down in Baton Rouge against the Air Raid, the Pirate, and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I think we have Brett back. Brett, are you there?
Yeah, I'm back. As I warned, I don't know why the Wi-Fi picks today to do this, but it has, and it's been a couple of times. I'm very sorry for that, but good catch for you, Drew. We're in our Family Leisure studios. Wi-Fi doesn't have anything to do with the great people at Family Leisure, and that's great. We're family and fun come together. World's biggest spa sale, up to 30% off spas and swim spas right now at Family Leisure. Choose from hundreds of different spas from multiple manufacturers, special financing available, special pricing on chemicals and accessories, professional delivery available at Family Leisure, and you will always be treated so well at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. And while supplies last, people can go by Family Leisure and get an official Sports 56 mask, as it has become now more than ever important to mask up. And you can go to Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, and always be able to do that. Dave will join us at some point from Dallas, but we've got a very busy Friday football fiesta show for you. Bruce Marshall from the Goal Sheet will join us at the bottom of this hour, about 3:30. He will join us to take us through a walk through the weekend of the games, college and pro, baskets and baseball, as the NBA Finals Game 2. It's tonight. 6 teams have advanced in Major League Baseball with 2 spots remaining, both in the National League. The winner of if the Marlins win today, it'll be the Marlins advancing. If the Cubs win today, it'll be the Cubs or Marlins winner tomorrow, whichever one comes out of that. Tonight, Cardinals in San Diego. Winner take all. Winner advances, loser goes home. Winner advances to get the Dodgers. How much fun will that be for anybody? Bruce Marshall will break it down for us at 3:50. We'll talk the NBA Finals night, Game 2, 9.5-point favorites that the Los Angeles Lakers, that they are tonight over the injury-ravaged Miami Heat. 4 o'clock from TexAgs.com. Old familiar face and name to this show and voice. You will hear Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com join us about the A&M trip to Tuscaloosa tomorrow to face mighty Alabama. Alabama, a lusty 16, 17-point favorite in that. About 4:30, Glenn Rogers talking high school football with us. Longtime coach at MUS, former Tiger great, and great guy. He joins us to talk high school football. We will talk baseball playoffs, and at 5 o'clock, we will talk the NBA Finals tonight with Andy Schiffman, our NBA analyst, an agent in Chicago, native Memphian, based now in Chicago, to break down the NBA for us. And at 5:30, our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast, where we pick the games pertinent to the weekend. Of course, the Tiger game will be one of the first ones that we will break down when we get to that, after a lot of Tiger talk before we get to that point, and we wrap it all up as we close out the show about 5:50 with Taco Bell crunch time. So you texted me last night, you're Padres.
Yes,
Come
I
on,
did.
Man.
I'm extremely excited because
you really going there with me.
I am, because you texted me, I think 2 days ago, asking, so am I going to jump on the Cardinals fan base? And I texted you back that y'all don't need me. You're the greatest fans in baseball. So why not jump on the Padres bandwagon? And plus yesterday,
well, we are.
Plus yesterday, I was wearing an Orioles Manny Machado jersey. So I'm now going to be one of those guys that roots only for players and not teams.
Manny Machado had a good game last night, but he had 2 teammates combined to do something that hadn't been done since the 1932 World Series. You know what that is? You know what that was?
2 teammates hitting multiple home runs in a single playoff game.
That is exactly it. Young Fernando Tatis, his dad hit 2 big grand slams in 1 inning off the same pitcher one time. That will never be broken. No pitcher will be left out there to eat it that long. For one thing, in the same inning, Fernando Tatis did it in 1999. His son last night hit 2 home runs. Will Myers hit 2 home runs. And they join Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig as the only other people, or the last time it happened for 2 teammates to hit 2 home runs in the same game. That 1932 World Series, that one of those home runs by Babe Ruth in that game, that was the called shot off Charlie Root. That's when he had promised the ailing child that he would hit a home run for them and did.
Now, do you believe that he actually pointed or was pointing in the fact that he was calling his shot? Because there are so many different theories, and and saying that he was pointing at a sign or he was pointing at somebody or he's actually pointing down.
There's a great picture of Lou Gehrig waiting to be the next at bat, almost chuckling with Ruth like, you've done it again. Because Ruth was a gigantic clown, was one of the baseball showmen of all time, and big and bawdy and unlike anything baseball had ever hadn't nor since the biggest star still in the history of the sport. And I do think he did call it, and I think he backed it up at Wrigley Field off of Charlie Root in the 1932 World Series. Will Tatis and Will Myers be remembered like that?
I doubt it. I think one of them would probably have to call the shot again for it to be that memorable of a thing. That 1932 World Series is one of the most historic, greatest things in baseball due to the fact of the called shot. I think without the called home run, it probably goes down as just another great World Series. But when you say 1932 World Series to basically any casual baseball fan, they know of the called home run.
And they know of Charlie Root. It's all we know about him. And that was 1932, and we talk about it like it was 2 weeks ago.
We do, and I bet Charlie Root was a good player. I mean, it was in the bigs, and it kind of sucks for him.
Charlie Root.
That's the only thing we know of him.
It does.
I mean, almost 100 years later, you say Charlie Root, yeah, the guy that Babe Ruth hit the called shot off of. I'd rather not be remembered than remembered that way, I think.
Charlie Root, stage name?
No, I'll say real name. They had a lot of weird real names back in the day.
They really did. I mean, they'd throw Mordecai Three Finger Brown at you, and old Hoss Radburn would run out there on you. They had a lot of great names in that stretch. But the Padres, they got the lumber out last night. The Cardinals couldn't keep the ball in play. I mean, it kept leaving the ballpark. The Cardinals scored enough runs that, all year, or this limited year that we've had. That's been the problem with St. Louis. And then last night, score some runs and can't keep the ball in the ballpark. But tonight, Jack Flaherty with a John Harden guarantee closing out his show today. He called he called his shot. He pointed for Jack Flaherty tonight. So we'll see if he gets there or no. A lot of college football this weekend. A lot of NFL on Sunday. It won't be the Titans playing on Sunday. And the baseball really after today, if the Marlins win, baseball really takes off until Monday. Only one game tomorrow would be the Marlins and the Cubs in the decider. No game scheduled for Sunday. Everybody kind of getting out of the way on Sunday for the NFL. But we have a lot to discuss today, and we want you to be a part of it, as always, at the First Bank phone line, 360-8255, or at the First Bank text line, 67129. First Bank, they know exactly what you need. You need a reliable, trustworthy Memphis banker that can give you an answer, direct answer, because they make the decisions right here in Memphis about you and for you right here at home, not in a loan committee meeting in Birmingham or Houston or Nashville or anywhere else, but right here in Memphis. They all have deep Memphis roots in banking and business experience and expertise, great locations, and wonderful people that you see out in the community that you know are trustworthy, and you know that they are reliable. Build your success story with First Bank and visit firstbankonline.com. That's firstbankonline.com. So the NFL game last night, I didn't watch a down of it. I was locked in totally to baseball. Did you watch any NFL last night?
I did not watch a single down, and I don't think anybody can blame me for it just due to the matchup, the weirdness of it from the highlights that I got. I was locked in just like you to the Cardinals-Padres, and it seemed like it was kind of an interesting game. Like it wasn't the worst Thursday night game that we've seen in recent history, but it's still the Jets and Broncos.
The Jets and the Broncos. Joe Namath playing for the Jets was really a long time ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean
a real long time ago.
Pretty long ways. Like 20 years before I was born.
51 years. 51 years to Joe Willie. And it's just, they've had some decent teams since then. And Rex Ryan got them in an AFC championship game or two. And I think Walt Michaels got them in one, but it's been mostly futility, and it's on the wrong path with Adam Gase. And last night, what they thought would be the cornerstone young franchise quarterback, Sam Darnold, and I did too. Coming out of USC, I thought he would be all that. I think back to that Rose Bowl game against Penn State that he was just unreal in. And it hadn't been that at all in the NFL for him. But on Sunday, the NFL will be back, but it will be without the Titans and without the Steelers. That game will be made up the weekend of October 25th, with the NFL having to do some scheduling, shuffling, as we all have had to during this year. This has been the lightly shaded pencil year of sports, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. And I don't think anybody truly very confidently could have thought that out of all the sports this year, this calendar year that's been messed up, that the NFL was going to be the only professional organization to skate by 2020 without having some type of a hiccup due to COVID-19. So you knew it was going to happen, and you just hope that unlike baseball or other organizations, there's like MLS, who had multiple teams have COVID outbreaks, you hope it kind of just limits it just to the Titans, and they can get over it just as fast, and we're not having to sit here. They probably won't, but hopefully the timeline of it will be a lot smaller to where we're not sitting here talking it's been 28 days since the Titans played like we are the Tigers.
And your great Tiger note on that 28-day respite is?
It is the longest span between two regular season games for the Tigers since 1913.
Wow. 1913. Well, we're really reaching back for almost every nugget back into the teens and 20s and even past that. 1913 last time, but 28 days, right?
28 days. The last time in 1913 was 22 days. So this is completely the longest, but the longest one before that I could find was 22 days.
Well, let's hope it's not another one. We know it's going to be by schedule. It'll be 14 more days before the next game after tomorrow, right?
Yes, because next week
the open date
was an open date. So gonna have to stay focused, and that's the thing going into this game that a lot of people are worried about. How are they in game shape? Are they focused? How hard is it to keep your mind straight when you've had 4 weeks off between games, and then you're basically going to have to do it all over again, and now going 14 days.
So that'll be 3 games in 42 days.
Yes, and for me to figure out that, I'd probably that's some new math for me.
All weekend.
I'd have to figure it. Take me a while.
I got something for you, and I have loved mine. The FanDuel Fantasy app. There are more ways to win than ever before on the FanDuel Fantasy app. From daily fantasy to new season-long contests you can play for free or join paid games to compete for real cash prizes. Right now, FanDuel giving new players 20% on their first deposit, up to $500 in bonus credit added instantly into your new account. Enter now to play in Sunday slate and single game contests, or try your luck in gridiron pick'em. Just pick the winners of Sunday's NFL matchups correctly for your chance to earn up to $5,000 every week, absolutely free. And when you win, FanDuel, they pay out your winnings in as little as 24 hours. If you haven't tried FanDuel yet, what are you waiting for? Simply download the FanDuel Fantasy app today to get started and claim your deposit bonus of up to $500. Age and location-based restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com. And to get a head start on who you should pick, listen to us in just about 11 minutes when Bruce Marshall from the Goal Sheet joins us to break down all the games. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the great people at Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity October sales event. Great offers on all 2020 models and special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
My top story of the day, we've already talked about it, but Memphis Tiger football is finally back. It's been 28 days since the Tigers last played a football game this 2020 season. Still a lot of questions surrounding the team only 24 hours away from their matchup in Dallas against SMU, such as who will be playing, who will be out, and how will they look? Are they in game shape, or will they come out slow and sluggish and hopefully not be behind the eight ball against an SMU team who has played the last 3 weeks? And those are questions we're going to find out very soon at 2:30 on ESPN tomorrow.
I'm with you. It is obviously the top story of the day. It's finally here again. It feels like the excitement of opening day part 2. This time opening day on the road. That first one against Arkansas State, that win looks better and better with each passing week. It sure has not been diminished. It has been exalted, if anything. And now the Tigers face a 3-0 SMU against not that great a competition, but three laps around the track. I'll give them that, against the 1-0 Tigers. It is the feature game so far this year in the AAC, and it's finally game day again tomorrow for Ryan Silverfield. He has waited a long time to double that win total. He gets a shot at it tomorrow.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story, we've also touched on it. COVID-19 has hit the NFL. It has affected every other sport and professional league in the U.S., and the NFL is now no different, with the announcement today that the Steelers and Titans game has officially been postponed this weekend and moved back to Week 7 when the Steelers were supposed to play the Ravens. But luckily for the NFL, both Pittsburgh and Baltimore had Week 8 byes, so they will play that matchup then. If the NFL gets hit again, rescheduling will probably be a much harder thing to accomplish.
Yeah, it will get more difficult with more games piling up. But look, today was the last vestige of where it had not touched. The virus had touched everything, just about every aspect of our society today. And when you wake up to the news that it has hit the residents of 1,600, not the residents, but in the actual residence and the residents of 1,600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the president and the first lady, it has been lethal, and we sure hope everybody will be sobered by this and properly alert to it. And that's sure what we have tried to do. Now, do you feel bad about laughing at me back in March with gloves and mask on?
I really do. As time goes on.
Back in March, I was the forerunner.
You were prepared. You were
100%
100% prepared. But then again, in my defense, in March, I didn't know what I know now. So you can't really hold me to the same standard.
But I was scared. And I'll tell you what did it for me, Drew, and it was really weeks before it hit our front pages. But when I heard that in Wuhan, that the Chinese government, the Chinese military, that they were welding shut homes and apartments and buildings with occupants inside.
Yeah, that'll definitely get your attention.
This is more than just the germ novel. This is big. Never dreaming it would come here, and I was just trying to be extra careful that day. Y'all made fun of me though for having gloves and
I apologize.
Gloves and a mask on. My not top story. What possibly can Mike Leach do tomorrow at Davis Wade Stadium at Scott Field in his home opener at Mississippi State to top last week? Seriously, how does he top last week? Score 100?
I was about to say break triple digits. Get to 100. That'd be the only way.
100 times? I mean, how in the world could Monday Mississippi State dominate the headlines like they did and properly did this last Monday? But tomorrow, the Bullies against Arkansas with a 20-game SEC losing streak, now having to face the biggest story from college football, or from the SEC, no, from college football so far this year. 6:30 tomorrow night in Starkville for that one. We'll talk a lot about that with Bruce Marshall. We'll talk a lot about that game as we do our college football picks at 5:30 on Friday Football Forecast, brought to you by First National Bank and Trust. But when we come back, we head to Vegas and we visit with Bruce Marshall. He's up next from the Gold Sheet.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. 2 Memphis locations, one in Midtown on Hollywood Street across from the Liberty Bowl, and one in Cordova off Germantown Parkway next to the Fox and Hound. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
In today's world, a lot is going on, but one thing is always true. You need to take care of yourself. The skin clinics can help. Age, diet, genetics, and current events can conspire to make you look and feel much older than you are. It doesn't have to be that way. Call the skin clinics and let their expertly trained nurses, estheticians, and staff choose the treatment that best suits you and your pocket. There's so much you can do. Consider skin resurfacing and rejuvenation, lash extensions and specialty brows, injectables, medical grade chemical peels, laser hair reduction, waxing, facials, makeup applications, and even services just for men. The Skin Clinics has it all in a caring, safe environment, always observing current social distancing guidelines. Go to theskinclinic.com to find out more and call today for your appointment at 901-345-SKIN. That's 901-345-SKIN. Taking care of yourself is good for you and your loved ones. Come to the Skin Clinics, 1300 Wolf Park Drive in Germantown.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
The Marlins are on the board. They got a home run and then drove in another run. They have plated 2 over the Cubs, and the Cubs are taking Yu Darvish out. The Marlins, if they win, they advance. 2 out of 3, they will have swept 2-0. If the Cubs come back and win, the third and final game will be played tomorrow at the friendly confines on the north side of Chicago at Wrigley Field. Every Friday at this time, we visit with Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet in Las Vegas, and things really started picking up last weekend with the SEC back, 5th playing weekend of the year, 2nd weekend for the SEC, but the 2nd weekend for the Memphis Tigers back after a 28-day respite. Bruce Marshall, how hard is it to handicap these games with these kind of delays and the thin resumes of learning about teams for first weekend in October? You should really be having a handle on these teams by now. Is it hard to get a handle on them, Bruce?
Yeah, more. Although that assumes it's always it's easy before. It's never too easy. But you're right. It's this year. How do you get a beat on a team like Memphis? Hasn't played in 4 weeks. How do we get a beat on a team like the Houston Cougars? They haven't played at all. So it is to add an extra layer of challenge to an already challenging exercise.
And Bruce, one of the games I want to talk to you about, we'll get to it a little bit later toward the end. It's a coach that I love, and I think one of the quiet best jobs being done in college football at a place that you contend one of the great jobs ever turned in the history of college football. And I'm talking about Virginia now with Bronco Mendenhall. And you say the job that George Welsh did there was just one of the phenomenal jobs. They played one time. I mean, it's just hard to get a read on them.
Yeah, it is, although it was good last week for Virginia. I mean, now it's a step up against Clemson, which is outclassing. I mean, Virginia might as well be playing the Carolina Panthers this week because Clemson's got that much of a class edge on everybody. But having said that, Bronco Mendenhall was happy with his quarterback, Armstrong, who had backed up Perkins the last couple of years, led the big fourth quarter to take out Duke and David Cutcliffe, who was having some trouble there. But you wonder about some of these big spreads, Brett. We saw this last week. Clemson is laying a lot of points again here. We think they can probably get there, but we've seen Clemson, we've seen Dabo, we've seen Nick Saban take their foot off the pedal in some of these games. When you're up there laying more than 4 touchdowns, you know, it makes it a little bit tricky. And Virginia, though, if Dabo wants this number, he can get it. Virginia has teams like Duke it can play later in the year to do well against. I wouldn't tempt it to go against Clemson here.
So not one of your favorite games, Virginia and Clemson.
No, it's just so many points there. Clemson can get there if it wants, but like I said, Dabo, he pulled his foot off the pedal against Wake Forest. He could do it again. Makes it tricky here.
All right, let's start with the hometown Tigers. They go on the road, but they are favorites against Sonny Dykes and the SMU Mustangs.
Yeah, I think this is a bad number. I know in the past, Memphis has had SMU's number in recent years, but listen, I mean, they haven't played in 4 weeks. They've had some COVID stuff there. I mean, who knows what you're going to get? It's a different regime. I'd point out Ryan Silverfield is 0-2 against the number. I'm not going to hold that too much against him with the Cotton Bowl game last year with Penn State. And they did win that opener against Arkansas State, just couldn't quite get the big number. But if Sonny Dykes can't get Memphis this year, he's never going to get him. He's had a few tune-up games here. The offense is in full flight right now. And he even took his foot off the pedal a bit last week against Stephen F. Austin, but Buechele has put up some awfully big numbers. This is if Sonny's going to get him. I mean, this is when he's going to get him, and we think SMU is probably the side to look at here. We made it a release in the Gold Sheet here this week. We took SMU to win this game, 35-30, Ponies.
Bruce, another AAC game that could be interesting, especially how Tulsa started off the season looking pretty good against Oklahoma State. They're 21.5 point dogs at Central Florida. Do you think the Golden Hurricanes have a shot in that one?
To hang in and cover it, probably, and they did play Oklahoma State pretty tough. They knocked out the quarterback early in that game, and they kept Chuba Hubbard in check. Now, if they can do the same thing to Dylan Gabriel here, they might have a chance. Although East Carolina's game last week, UCF looks very potent, but the East Carolina game, you wonder, and again, I could throw that in there along with Wake Forest and Clemson and Alabama, Missouri, with teams that were way ahead and actually had that point spread at one point in the game like UCF did last week, and then took its foot off the pedal, and then ECU comes in the back door. That could certainly happen here again with Tulsa, but they are, robust defensively. They beat these guys last year, and they've had success in the series lately against UCF, so they're not going to be afraid. And that should bode well, I think, to keep them within the number. We thought they'd be comfortably inside the number. Score forecast 38-28 UCF. The Knights, I think, will win and get their revenge, but this spread looks just too high.
So Tulsa plus the 21.5 in that one. Let's go to the state that has the 2 Iron Bowl participants. Different game than the Iron Bowl tomorrow, but the South's oldest rivalry. Georgia favored over Auburn in Athens, and then we'll get to Bama and A&M heavily favored in Tuscaloosa in Nick Saban against the former protege in Jimbo Fisher. First Georgia and Auburn, then Bama and A&M.
Yeah, here we go. Gosh, it's been 38 years since that great game, and Larry Munson's greatest call, a sequence of calls I ever heard in a college game, and the sugar's falling from the sky. 38 years ago. Man, where did time go? Now, can Gus Malzahn go in there and get the big win? He's had trouble winning at Georgia in recent years. Those even-numbered year schedules a little bit tougher for Auburn, though they mixed up the schedule a bit. They don't have to wait till November to get to Georgia. They get them right now. Maybe it's a good time to get Georgia. I'm not sure still about Stetson Bennett. I know they made a rally last week with him in the lineup, and Kirby was really desperate. That was his last roll of the dice last week before he's going to have to call Buck Bellew out of the radio studio in Atlanta to come back. They really, really were struggling. Bennett got them over the hump. I think Arkansas contributed to that, though. The offense stalled in the second half. Some mistakes. Georgia's defense can do that. I don't think Bo Nix is going to make those sort of mistakes. He looked very poised last week. Maybe getting Chad Morris back there, this might be a better role for Morris. He's working in conjunction with Gus to smooth out some of the rough edges with Nix, who looked good last week. They beat a pretty darn good Kentucky team, a little misleading score. I think the quarterback, I think Daniels, is ready for he got cleared this week for Kirby, but I think he starts Bennett again, but it's going to be a short leash. I think this is a shot for Gus to go in there and steal one. We had Auburn 20-16, and that would be big for the Tigers. That would put them right in the middle of the playoff mix, and I'm still not sure about Georgia's offense. We'll see.
So you like Auburn plus the 7.5, and you're not scared of calling it straight up. All right, in Tuscaloosa, Bama, big favorite over A&M.
Yeah, again, another big number, but remember these numbers now. We're not talking about like 4 touchdowns with some of these games like last week. This one you're talking about 17 or so. And as far as A&M goes, I mean, it had trouble just winning that game against Vanderbilt. Was Jimbo holding something back last week? I don't know. I mean, Kellen Mond last year, a lot of people thought he stalled in his progress. They weren't stretching the field last year at A&M, and they certainly didn't last week against Vanderbilt. They've got to open up the offense and get some downfield passing a little bit more consistent here with Kellen Mond to see what happens. Now, there's always a chance Nick is up again. He did last week. But Mac Jones looked good. Najee Harris looks good. The defense certainly looked good until right in the end last week when Nick was subbing easily. He has also never lost a game to one of his former assistants. Remember, Jimbo was on his staff in the LSU days for Nick. So that's also in Nick's favor here. And I think Bama gets them. I think there's A&M, not there yet. And he's going to start building on Jimbo next year if they don't do something this year. It might happen. 38-17, Bama will lay the points.
Bruce, the team that I want to ask you about is the team that ultimately covered last week. I think it was like a plus 30 spread for the Vandy A&M game and got there easily 17-12. Is Vandy better than we thought, or did A&M just really stall? And does Vandy have a legit shot against LSU in Nashville this week?
I think they're better than we thought. How much better, I don't know. That mysterious game last week, Derek Mason does have almost his entire defense back, and it was not a great defense. That was maybe Mason's worst defense he's had last year. He's had some decent stop units there before. What they did, they brought Todd Fitch up from Skip's staff at La Tech to put the spread in there. True freshman quarterback Ken Seals. They were playing pretty much in safe mode last week. He was throwing a lot of short dink and dunk passes, but at least there's a little plan for Vandy's offense now. They didn't really have one the last couple of years. There's a little bit of a philosophy here now, and it sort of kept A&M on its toes. There weren't a lot of big plays Vandy made, but they were able to play better. They're not going to do what Costello did to LSU last week. And by the way, the Baton Rouge people tell me LSU's secondary was just practicing social distancing last week. That's why Costello threw for all those yards.
Well, they did it well.
Sure. They did it well. But it still looks like a lot of points. And Brennan made some mistakes last week, and maybe Derek Mason's defense that flustered Kellen Mond last week does a little of that. 30-17, Ole Miss. Ole Miss. Make that LSU. LSU wins. But I don't know if it covers this 3-touchdown number.
So Vandy plus that big touchdown number, but LSU wins the game in Nashville. Now to the Egg Bowl participants, Egg Bowl combatants. First, we'll start at Scott Field with Mississippi State hosting Arkansas. Mike Leach against Sam Pittman, 2 first-year coaches. One started 1-0, the other one lost last week. I know we play for the left-hand column, Bruce, but I thought Arkansas looked pretty scrappy in defeat and much better organized, at least for a half to 3 quarters, under Sam Pittman than at any point in the Chad Morris years.
Yes, I think you're right, and they were in that game, and then things just stopped happening in the third quarter. That offense needed to sustain some drives to stem the flow and momentum the other way, and couldn't do it. I don't know what Felipe Franks is, if he's up to it or not. He was erratic at Florida, and the Kendall Briles offense maybe isn't where it's going to be later October or November. We will see about Arkansas, but I think you're going to see Mike Leach again. We talked about Costello, what he did last week, and there's a chance we could be going overboard here at Mississippi State. But I still think that defense is the secret weapon here. They gave up some points last week, but they were really rattling Miles Brennan, and that is the Zach Arnett defense that he brought to Starkville from San Diego State. And Leach knew about it, and that's Rocky Long's 3-3-5. That's going to confuse a lot of SEC defenses this year, SEC offenses. And we're going to ride Mississippi State. Let's see what happens. 39-16, take our shot with Mike Leach and hot KJ Costello. By the way, Stanford people are very upset with David Shaw. Why didn't he use Costello the same way the last few years?
No kidding. I mean, just sat there and really kind of limited him, and he was unloading last week. In Lexington, in the land of bluegrass, horses, whiskey, and John Calipari, Ole Miss travels tomorrow to face Kentucky. Last time Ole Miss played up there in 2017, a late game great catch by DK Metcalf on a post corner from Jordan Tiamu was enough to pull it out for the Rebels. Tomorrow, Kentucky a 6.5-point favorite over Ole Miss.
Yeah, and interesting tidbit here. This Commonwealth Stadium is actually the newest SEC stadium. I know they've all been remodeled over the last 50 years, multiples of times, but 73. That's actually the newest stadium in the SEC. Interesting tidbit there. Now, I don't know what that's going to mean for the game tomorrow. I do think Lane Kiffin, they're playing this up-tempo, and it was Kiffin being himself, talking about, Matt Corral, all the yards and things against that defense of Florida. Florida was playing softball defense late in that game at the big lead. A lot of those yards and points didn't matter, although they did almost get a backdoor cover. I don't think Kiffin should be playing this up-tempo stuff with a defense that depth-wise maybe has been hurt by some of those scholarships that they lost in recent years. And, they weren't doing much last week against Florida. If you don't have a little bit of a defense, man, they're going to get gassed if you're out there on offense just trying to go lickety-split like that. And besides, Kentucky's not going to be like Florida, I think, last week, and kind of letting Ole Miss do a lot in the fourth quarter when it's way ahead. This will be a closer game, but Kentucky's defense is real, and they got unfortunate last week at Auburn. I think Mark Stoops gets them tomorrow. 32-22, we took Kentucky. I still think this is a solid team. I'm not sure what to make about Ole Miss yet.
Bruce, one more local game for me. Tennessee coming off the road victory last week at South Carolina. Now they have Mizzou in Knoxville. How do you see that one playing out?
Yeah, Tennessee is the win streak is now at 7. And Jeremy Pruitt, it looks like the recruiting is going well for him as well. So they maybe have turned the corner there. The one thing, they usually haven't been winning these games by big margins, including last year at Mizzou. It was 24-20. They are winning, but now you're going to have to ask them to cover nearly 2 touchdowns here. I think we could do it, though. That was not an easy win last week at South Carolina. They got there. Garantano is much more confident now as a senior, and he's got a very experienced offense around him. Not sure what to make of Mizzou. Last week they were way behind. They did get the backdoor cover. They're running no huddle there. The TCU transfer, Robinson, did some things in the fourth quarter after that thing was out of reach. But I have a feeling Mizzou isn't going to be as good as it might be later in the season. So as long as this number doesn't get over 2 TDs, we're on the balls here. 34-19 Tennessee in Knoxville.
Tennessee improves to 2-0 according to Bruce Marshall in the goal sheet. Bruce, the texter wants to know real quickly about Florida and South Carolina. Will Muschamp's return back to Gainesville and to where he grew up, facing the Gators and Dan Mullen off of a 1-0 start last week in Oxford. Florida, South Carolina, then your favorite college game, and then we got to quickly get to NFL.
Yeah, I think, Muschamp has played Florida pretty tough in the past. You mentioned that connection there. I think he's got a quarterback, Colin Hill, the Colorado State transfer. Mike Bobo, by the way, came from Colorado State. He's the offensive coordinator, and he's familiar with the territory as well. I think Muschamp hangs in there. Doesn't win this game, but 35-25 Florida. This has been a good role for Muschamp for most of his career at getting points, and I think they'll stay within that 18 tomorrow at Gainesville.
So Will Muschamp in South Carolina keeps it closer than the point spread. All right, anything else from college that you just love before we get to the NFL?
Yeah, one, I'm looking against Southern Miss now every week. You guys have talked about the problems they're having down there. We know Jay Hobson left after the first game. There's financial problems in that program. They haven't won yet. Tulane lit them up for 66 last week. North Texas, probably not as good as Tulane, but Seth Luttrell likes his 2 new quarterbacks, and they can put up a lot of points on the board. I think North Texas gets Southern Miss in a near pick'em game in Denton tomorrow.
North Texas over Southern Miss in a close to pick'em game tomorrow. NFL, your top 2 or 3 games, Bruce?
I'm going to give Baltimore a shot here to bounce back. Kansas City is the kryptonite for the Ravens, as Lamar Jackson said. You have to get ahead of the Ravens and make them play from behind. I don't think Washington can do that. Dwayne Haskins, more mistakes last week. He is very slow on the NFL learning curve at quarterback. It's a short ride for the Ravens down to FedEx Field. They handle a big 2-touchdown spread in that game. So let's take the Ravens. I'm also going to give the 49ers. I'm laying some points here. I think Philadelphia's got problems. I think at some point Jalen Hurts is going to be in there at quarterback this year. Wentz has lost his confidence. San Francisco, Nick Mullins might go again at quarterback. He is very capable. And watch the new receiver, Brendan Ayuk from Arizona State. I will take San Francisco to extend that margin against the Eagles on Sunday night.
They could be doing it again this year, but this time without Jimmy G, instead with Nick Mullins. I loved him in college, and he's performing well. Got to ask you about New England and Kansas City. Which way do you lean on that one?
Boy, I hate to go against Kansas City again, but we're going to do it. Take Belichick. You don't get him as a dog too much. They probably should have won that game at Seattle 2 weeks ago. He is 13-4 as a dog the last decade, and you got Kansas City off that big game the other night. I think New England stays close, and Cam Newton and Belichick maybe squeeze one out, but plus the points, yes, New England on Sunday.
I'm going to one more game you to death. Now give me the baskets tonight. NBA tonight with the Heat very injury-racked against the Lakers.
You're getting extra points now. This thing is up 9.5. I would probably give Miami one more shot, even though Bam and Dragic might not play, and I might look under as well. So it could be Heat and the under tonight. Under hung in there in Game 1. I think that might be a trend the rest of the series as well.
Bruce, tell our listeners how they can get more information from you, from the Gold Sheet, from Vegas Insiders, and much, much more.
Thank you, Brett. Check us out online, goldsheet.com, that new, easy-to-read Gold Sheet online version now. And people with you can read it now easier, so that's nice. Online version, goldsheet.com. You get my picks up there. They're also at vegasinsider.com and donbest.com. And, hey, you can read my stuff also, a lot of SEC write-ups, too, at VSiN Point Spread Weekly.
And it is good stuff. Bruce Marshall, good luck to you this weekend. You don't need it, but we always like to have a little more good luck. You'll win big. Thank you, man.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Thanks, Bruce.
You got it. Bruce Marshall with us every Friday from the Gold Sheet, and it is good stuff at the Gold Sheet. And I can remember when you would get it in the mail and it was gold, and you would lay it out and you would read it feverishly and learn a lot of great tidbits from Bruce and that staff dating back to 1957 at the Gold Sheet. Not that long ago did All-Star Chevrolet start down in Olive Branch, but you know it's one of our mainstays. And this fall, it's already off to a great start at All-Star Chevrolet. I'm loving all the new All-Star Chevys. You will not find more new Silverados anywhere, and for a lot less. If it's a new Chevy you want, Olive Branch is where you want to be. Come drive one of the new Blazers or Tahoes. Talk about a road trip. Drive a new Traverse or Camaro. And the new Chevy car to drive, it's one of the Impalas that's got all the awards. All-Star. They win on the low prices. We're talking 20-something. You can even get thousands in cash back. Check out the certified pre-owned Chevy deals. The lot is full. Tahoes, Malibus, Impalas, Suburbans. Don't forget, it's not the Pike. It's not South Haven. It's not Mount Moriah. It's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Everyone at All-Star, one job to do. Make sure you get the best deal. Have fun doing it and doing it in record time. And everyone at All-Star, they always thank our first responders for all that they do for each and every one of us every single day. Find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com. When we come back, we wrap up the hour and we talk about the NBA Finals tonight. Boy, all those injuries, and it's really hurt the complexion and the fun of that series. We talk about that next.
It's R&R on Sports.
The word is out about R&R on Sports, where you've heard interviews from
Ken Griffith Jr., Dr. J, Hank Aaron, and many, many more.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1.
Don't miss us.
Family Leisure's done it again. We're talking about the world's biggest spa sale. Up to 30% off on spas and swim spas. Choose from hundreds of different spas from multiple manufacturers. There is special financing available, and if you are in the market, special pricing now as summer starts to dwindle on chemicals and accessories. Always professional delivery available. The spas are going crazy at Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road.
Upgrade your commute at Acura of Memphis. Seize the thrill and test drive one of our award-winning models, each packed with cutting-edge technology, luxurious amenities, and a driving experience that's sure to awaken your inner self. Driving shouldn't be a chore, it should be an adventure. Advance your drive today. Shop our aggressive lease and finance options now. Luxury is waiting at Acura Memphis, or shop online 24/7. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
I saved big money with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, so I finally bought that new set of golf clubs. Watch out, Fairway. Here I come.
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big with Progressive, but your other expenses won't just disappear. Are those clubs going to help you when the hot water heater dies? Also, it sounds like your money is better spent on golf lessons.
Time to go shoot the course record.
No, but maybe time for a reality check. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Great news, sports fans. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse is now open for dine-in service. Make a reservation and enjoy a mouth-watering steak dinner. Or, if you prefer, take it curbside. In addition to their fantastic steaks, the Butcher Shop Steakhouse has a variety of entrees, including Canadian lobster tail, crab-stuffed shrimp, pan-seared red snapper, and fresh ground steak burger with portobello mushroom sauce. Planning to cook out? The Butcher Shop Steakhouse offers a great selection of fresh Angus beef, hand-cut steaks and burgers, lamb chops, Atlantic salmon, and more. Make your reservation for dine-in or pre-order for curbside pickup. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse. Dine-in, curbside, and delivery. Plus, enjoy the sizzle of top-quality Butcher Shop steaks on your own grill. Call us at 757-4244 and visit our website, thebutchershop.com, for menus and more. The Butcher Shop Steakhouse, Walnut Grove and Germantown Parkway.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stotts. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
What I'm saying is, this is the anthem. Throw all your hands up. Y'all got to feel me sing.
Cubs trail the Marlins 2-zip. Marlins lead Chicago 2-zip in the top of the 8th. Runners on first and second. Nobody out for the Marlins, trying to add insurance runs from their perspective. 20-0 all time when leading by multiple runs in the postseason. The Marlins are. They've never lost a postseason series. That's right, the Miami Marlins.
That sounds insane, but also when you think about it, they haven't even been in the postseason since, I believe, 2001, right? And weren't a team till the mid-90s?
2003 when they won it all.
2003. So,
yeah.
I mean, it sounds impressive, but it's only like 3 trips to the playoffs total.
It's a thin resume, but
they do have one.
To it at Wrigley Field, and they've won a series at Wrigley before. They will be undefeated in series at Wrigley Field if they win this game 2-0 Marlins right now. Another team from Miami, they play tonight, the Miami Heat, and they're trying to do it with almost 2 arms tied behind their backs. Drew,
they really are, and I mean, going into this series, we thought it was going to be compelling. We thought it was going to be great. How is it going to look between a superstar-laden team with LeBron and AD going up against the best team basketball that we've seen in the playoffs in a long time, and the best team basketball in general that we've seen since Atlanta about 4 or 5 years ago, where they kind of were trying the team basketball mold, and it ultimately didn't work out for them. And then when you lose Dragic and Bam Adebayo, just you basically lose your leaders for everything. I mean, Bam is leading the team in the postseason in rebounds, assists, blocks, and Dragic is leading them in points. So it's going to be weird to figure out who's going to be the person to really step up. You kind of are looking at, obviously, Jimmy Butler, but he's going to do what he does. And how much can you really expect out of Tyler Hero to continue to give you, 14 to 22 points in a game like he's done throughout this whole postseason and in the bubble? So it's looking real bleak, and I don't know if Carl knows some witchcraft, but the fact that he actually called a sweep, it's looking possible.
Call through the voodoo on us, didn't he?
He really did. And he really didn't have to. I mean, he already won.
Yeah.
He didn't have to be cruel.
He just dunked in our face again, didn't he?
He did, and I don't know why he would do that and to the general public out there because, like I said, he's already won. No need to keep the foot on the neck.
He's already won. The Marlins ground into a double play, so they have a runner left on third, trying to add one more. They may need more than that, though, going into the last two at-bats against the Cubs in the best 2 out of 3 in the National League. Cardinals tonight in San Diego trying to win after the pitchers just couldn't do anything last night against those Ruthian bats from San Diego. Last night, Fernando Tatis and Will Myers, first teammates to hit 2 home runs in the same game since Ruth and Gehrig in 1932. The famous call shot one of those home runs by the Babe off of Charlie Root. And tonight in the NBA bubble, I really do. I hate it for the NBA because I wanted 7-game drama, because now it probably will be a ratings. They'll get crushed in the ratings, and that's all that the anti-crowd will latch on to.
They will, but here's the thing. I don't know how big ratings actually matter. I think it's one of those things that, and I know Gabe likes to say this all the time, that we're fake outraged by is the ratings. And look, you're either going to, at this point, you're either going to watch or you're not. I mean, I don't think it really has that much to do with who's playing and who isn't. Because if you're a basketball fan, you're going to watch. If you're a lukewarm fan, you see that Miami is down some players, you're probably not going to watch. So I don't think it really matters.
And if you don't want to, why do you have to call your shot? Why do you have to go Ruth over Charlie Root and announce your departure at Gate B at Hartsfield?
And basically say, I'm not want to watch. You're basically saying, see, nobody's watching, so why should I watch? I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, people love that confirmation that they're not alone, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. 1 hour in the books. We know what will be viewed by a lot of people. Last Saturday, CBS college football rating on the SEC. It was big between LSU and State. We'll see how big it'll be tomorrow between A&M and Alabama, and we talk about that game next with Olin Buchanan on Sportstime.
Napa know-how. At Napa, we've teamed up with AAA to save you 20% online or in-store. That's why they call us the Savings Dream Team. Okay, we're the only ones calling us that. But it's true. Your AAA membership can save you 20% at Napa. So we're basically superheroes with the most specific power ever, saving you 20%. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
20% off regular retail prices with valid AAA membership card. Offer ends 10/31/20.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-800 888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, WPGFLP Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Glad to have you with us today. Second hour starts now. Drew Barrett co-hosting with me today as Dave has made his way to Dallas and will join us in a little bit, getting set for tomorrow's broadcast on the Tiger Football Network between SMU and the Tigers tomorrow at 2:30. Tigers back in action for the first time since September the 5th. SMU playing their fourth game of the year, both playing their second games of the year tomorrow at Bryant-Denny Stadium in front of about 20,000 people because of everything we've been through this year. It's the Aggies of Texas A&M against the Alabama Crimson Tide. To talk with us about it now is Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com, a very, very frequent guest on this show. And Olin, I don't know how in the world A&M can ever top that first trip to Tuscaloosa in 2012 as members of the SEC. But tomorrow it sure would top it for Jimbo Fisher, as he was not a part of that in 2012. But you were there in 2012, and you know the feeling, that great feeling that it gave to Aggies around the world for Johnny Manziel to put on that show at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Olin, thank you for joining us, and good afternoon.
Oh, well, good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
And that trip in 2012 was spectacular, wasn't it? Kevin Sumlin's finest hour.
Yeah, without a doubt. Of course, people in Aggie seem to look at it as Cliff Kingsbury's finest hour. He was the offensive coordinator at the time, and the program kind of started to struggle once he left. But, yeah, that was an amazing day, and it's still looked at as one of the greatest moments in A&M football history. But they've been living off that for about 8 years. It's time to, do something big again. I don't know if they can do it tomorrow, but, it's been almost a decade. That was a great time, but, you got to move on and eventually, start playing like the kind of program and the kind of team that you expect to have.
Olin, and with that type of team that you expect to have in the offseason, there was a lot of talk about Kellen Mond, how he was going to evolve and be better this year, and just flat out didn't look like it against Vandy. Is it time that we stop expecting Kellen Mond to be something better and just accept that he is who he is?
Maybe. There was a lot of talk, and a lot of that talk was done by Jimbo Fisher, and a lot of that talk was done by Kellen Mond. Saying that, he's really had even more command of the offense. You would think, he's a senior in his third year, or entering his third year as a starter, that he would have. But, he certainly didn't look like it last week. Now, Kellen wasn't the only guy in an A&M uniform that played poorly against Vanderbilt. I said it was like getting a C- on an open book test. But Kellen certainly was culpable. He lost 2 fumbles. One of them really wasn't his fault. It was more on the right tackle. It was a blindside hit. But Kellen has a history of running with. He runs well, but not taking care of the ball. And he lost one fumble on a scramble. And then another time, he actually recovered it on a play that was a zone read. He had a 35-yard touchdown just waiting to meet. It was laid out. It couldn't have been set up any better, and he dropped the ball. And then when he recovered it, it was recovered short of the first down, so that it technically wasn't a turnover, but there was another one. So he's got to play better. And
I don't know.
We've seen him play better, but he has to play better.
I don't know of a serious person that thinks Jimbo Fisher has any type of jeopardy of over losing his job. It's just not been into this third year. I think what most have expected. You mentioned the 2012 win. Nolan Richardson used to talk about you got to keep feeding the monster, and that's where the internal pressure comes from. Well, the A&M monster really has never been fed. What are the expectations? I don't know if people are expecting a win tomorrow, but what are the overarching season expectations this year in College Station?
Well, I think the expectations coming in was that A&M was going to have a good year and be a legitimate challenger. I thought I think everybody in follows college football is just going to assume Alabama's going to win the West and probably the national championship. But you felt like this was a team that even after the change of schedule, you thought, okay, this is a team that could go 8-2. Well, then they had some key guys decide to opt out, and you say, well, they still should have a shot at 7-3. But after what we saw last week, it looked more like 3-7. Now, teams can't have a bad game and come back and play well, and that's what they're banking on. But they sure didn't give you any reason after that game to feel really, really confident. It's more cautious now.
As somebody who watched every second of that game last week, Olin, I want to ask kind of about their opponent in Vandy. Is Derek Mason Derek Mason, the Commodores, a lot better this year than most people expected?
Well, they're better than I expected. I'll say that. I thought the freshman quarterback played really well. I thought he threw the ball
I did too.
Very accurately. I can't remember the kid's name. He's a receiver. He's a pretty good player. And I thought the defense, Vanderbilt, was pretty good. And that's not really surprising. I think they got a couple of guys that actually have legitimate shots at the NFL on the defensive line. And Derek Mason, for all his issues as a head coach, I think everybody recognizes he's an accomplished defensive coach. So to see Vanderbilt play solid defense isn't that outrageous. What was outrageous, though, was that A&M still should have been able to take advantage of more opportunities, and they didn't.
Olin, it looks to me like that A&M defensive line can really be maybe the backbone of the team, maybe the strongest aspect to the team. Do you share that? And if not, what do you think would be the strength of the team and the defensive side?
Oh, absolutely. I think their linebackers are solid, and I think their safeties are really good and getting better. But yeah, the defensive line, there's 3 and maybe 4 NFL players on that defensive line. I guarantee you, DeMarvin Leal, he's only a sophomore. He's special. Mississippi kid, number 35, Jackson, McKinley Jackson. He got in place of Bobby Brown. I thought he outplayed Bobby Brown. And Bobby Brown's a guy they got away from Alabama. They won that recruiting battle, and so he's expected to be an NFL player. And then Jaden Peavy, who's replacing Justin Matabike, I think he's really good. And then another guy, Michael Clemens, is a guy that they've been waiting on since he got here 40 years ago. He looks at the part, he has all the physical ability, and he really hadn't done much. And then he had a couple of sacks in the fourth quarter, big junctures of the game. So he finally showed some of that potential. Now we'll have to see if he can continue it. But yeah, without a doubt, the defensive line is the strongest part of that team.
Oh, we obviously know the SEC, and especially the SEC West, is the toughest division and toughest conference in all of football. And the Aggies are about to feel that here in the next couple of weeks, having 3 top 20 matchups in Alabama, Florida at home, and then at Starkville for the Bulldogs. How many of those games do you think the fan base in College Station is realistically expecting to walk away with a W?
Probably in their mind, realistically, they're probably 2 of them. They think that they can beat Florida at home, and they think that they can beat Mississippi State. Maybe they can. I think it's a very real possibility they could go start 1-3, which would be just. Then you have to start wondering if guys are going to start checking out. But I don't think A&M is as bad as they looked. But when you see the way Florida played, and you see the way Alabama played, and you see the way Mississippi State played, they're going to have to be light years better than the way they look to be able to go out there and compete and have a chance to win.
Yeah, for a lot of teams in the SEC West, we were all kind of lamenting the possibility of no football, and then delayed football, then conference-only football, and then we kind of got it, Olin, because if you're at a couple places, you're looking around, and if you don't beat this team, then who are you going to beat? As the schedule's tough, and everybody in the SEC West, they all have to play Alabama either there or they have to play them at home. Neither one of them very easy. Last week, I thought Alabama just cruised in the fourth quarter and put that one away against Mizzou. What do you see from this Alabama team, and is it just what you've always seen from Nick Saban's team?
Well,
Great.
I've only got to see highlights because their game. I was covering my game when they were playing, but they're good everywhere, like they always. And I thought coming into the season, really the only question was Mac Jones, and he played really well. In fact, he played well his last, I think, 4 games dating back to last year. So it's just a typical Alabama team, good at every position, and like I said before, probably the favorite to win the national championship. I know people are going to say Clemson, and then they say, hey, when Ohio State starts playing, they're going to be as good as anybody, but Alabama's going to be right there in the conversation without a doubt. So, just a typical Nick Saban dominant football team.
I'm with you, Olin. I think it still goes through Alabama. Until they are knocked out, or until you got them in that championship game. In Clemson, they've been able to do that, but until you do that, it still goes through them. Last weekend in College Station, that crowd, I think the largest sporting crowd for American sports since the Super Bowl. That was the biggest crowd that we've had in American sports in a while, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think so. I think I heard something like that. But it's 107,000, 25% of that. It's about roughly 25,000, and they're loud and they love the team and all that. But maybe if there had been a full house, the Aggies would have responded to it. I don't know, but it's funny. They were supposed to play. And I know you didn't ask this. They were supposed to play Alabama, I think, the 11th game of the year before all this started, and they had a lot of what you'd think easy games early to get some young guys ready. And those fans there, they were expecting to see some guys that were highly recruited guys, and Jimbo didn't play them. So they were frustrated for the way the team played, and then they were frustrated for the guys they didn't see.
And there can be even more frustrations if A&M gets off to a rocky start, because last week they were 31-point favorites and only 29 points scored in the whole game, and Vandy stayed with them right to the end. And I thought, like you said, I thought the Vandy quarterback, I thought he probably had the best of the quarterback play. Olin, be safe heading to Tuscaloosa. Be safe in anything these days, and we will talk with you again soon. And I hope I see you when I come down to College Station in November. Thank you, Olin.
Be looking for you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Olin.
You got it. Olin Buchanan with TexAgs.com on all things Aggies. They narrowly got over Vanderbilt. Now, at Alabama, Drew, you mentioned this with Olin. At Alabama, then home against Florida, at State, the old Southwest Conference rivalry when they host Arkansas, at South Carolina, at Tennessee, before hosting Ole Miss and LSU and ending the season at Auburn. Except for maybe home against Arkansas, do you have a guarantee in any of those? They're going to win more than that, but do you have any that just, yes, A&M will win that game out of any of those except for Arkansas?
Maybe I'm overreacting from the week 1 performance that we saw out of Kellen Mond and the Aggies, but I don't even know if Arkansas is 100% of a guarantee.
I don't either.
At this point, just due to the fact that game is always close. It has been since A&M has joined the SEC, and that matchup has resumed from the old Southwest Conference. And
always close, but always A&M wins.
Yeah, they do always seem to pull it out, but Arkansas seems to, and Sam Pittman seemed to have something going. I know only scored, I think, total of 10 points, but did have Georgia only down by 2 at the half, 7-5. So if Sam Pittman can get something rolling here in the next month, then they might be actually have a win under their belt going into that game. I wouldn't be shocked if the Hogs pull it out. And, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin looked really well last week against Florida. South Carolina looked decent on offense. Yeah, South Carolina looked decent against Tennessee last week. And, of course, we know what happens, what LSU and Auburn all bring. So, as somebody who I believe I picked A&M to go, 7-3, I'm not sure if Olin, who said it half joking, at 3-7 isn't realistically out of possibility.
I picked 6-4 just because I almost always will short them going into a year. I've just heard about the building A&M monster for so long, and Olin made a great point for everyone out there as this year chugs on, as this year goes on, in this environment we're in, this whole kind of stew we're in sports and in society. He mentioned this, the checkout factor. You're going to have some teams that get off to rough starts, that you're going to have a lot of teams that late in the year, it's going to be hard to field teams.
It really will, and especially with how many people have already opted out, if more cases of COVID effect, it could just make other guys with their decision to opt out even greater. If you're through 7 weeks, you're 3-4 or 2-5. I mean, you might as well.
Worse.
Or worse. I mean, it just makes the decision so much easier for those guys that are already kind of considering it. And once a team checks out and they're fully unengaged, you ultimately can't get them back. They're just going to be running through the motions and hoping and praying for the last second of the last game to be done.
And we see it regularly now around bowl season. We don't call it checking out. I'm fine about it. If they don't want to go to the bowl, nobody's making them. But this year, you could see mass numbers of people just not wanting to go to fill in the name of the bowl here. Tomorrow in the SEC, it starts at 11 o'clock with South Carolina going to Florida. Florida installed as a 16.5-point favorite in that one. Also at 11 in Knoxville, Tennessee, a 12-point favorite over Mizzou. 2:30 on CBS, 18-point favorites right now. Alabama over Texas A&M at 3 o'clock. You can hear that action right here on the Flynn family of stations on AM 560, 96.1, and now on 98.5 FM. Kentucky, 6.5-point favorites over Ole Miss. The South's oldest rivalry, it's at 6:30 tomorrow night. Georgia hosting Auburn. The first time that game will have been played not in the month of November since 1930 when they played it in October, late October that year. It's been jockeyed around, moved earlier. That I think that will ultimately be to Auburn's advantage, not having to have Georgia and Alabama in those last few weeks of the year. That game kicks at 6:30. Georgia 7.5-point favorite at home between the hedges. Down in Starkville, the Bulldogs of Mississippi State 1-0 in the story of college football after last weekend. 17-point favorites over Arkansas. And Vanderbilt 0-1. LSU 0-1. LSU 21-point favorite over Vanderbilt. We talked about it on Monday, Drew. Miles Brennan lost in that game last week around 345 yards or so. And again, he's not middle linebacker. What he was in charge of, he was okay. I know a lot of LSU fans and a lot of people watching the game critical of him holding the ball, but his offensive line wasn't playing very good. He didn't have a lot of he didn't have the first guy coming open very fast and didn't have a lot of time to do much with it. I'm sure this week in practice they have told him find somebody and get the ball out.
Yeah, they definitely had, and I've heard the criticism, but I've also talked to some diehard LSU fans throughout the week, and a lot of them were kind of had the same mindset as the others, that they don't really blame Miles Brennan. They thought he had a decent game, and that, just like you said, he doesn't play linebacker. They kind of blame the loss basically on the defense, on having some people in the secondary like Stingley out of the game. Had some new young faces that haven't faced against SEC offensive talent going in. And the biggest complaint that I heard was Bo Pelino just refusing to switch anything up, refusing to try to do anything. And I think that's where most of the anger is. And also kind of looking at Coach Ed O and wondering, did he just catch lightning in the bottle, or can he create the success that he had last year and over a long period of time down in Baton Rouge for the Tigers, because while we've seen Ed O have great success, obviously won the national championship last year, we've seen him have success on the interim basis at places like USC. When it's his team and he's the head coach, it's never really been able to figure it out and put it all together over a multiple year stand. And I think that a lot of LSU fans are starting to wonder that maybe it was just a 1 year thing, and then now we're really getting the real Ed Orgeron.
Well, it was really, in fairness to Orgeron, it was over 2 years. They did win the Fiesta Bowl over Central Florida in that first year with Joe Burrow, and then that launched them into the orbit they were in last year. But to stay up there, because a lot of LSU fans and a lot of LSU bravado and talk is that they had caught Alabama. No, you had caught Alabama for last year, for that relay, for that run of the race, for that lap of the race. Yes, you caught and surpassed them for last year, but over the long march of time,
do it again.
You ain't caught it. You ain't caught anything.
No, you haven't. Until you've put in a multiple year stretch like Alabama and Nick Saban have done, and are constantly a preseason top 5 team, are constantly preseason put into the college football playoff picture. Not really put, I mean, just permanently cemented in there. I mean, it's the easiest pick to make when we make our college football predictions that Alabama's going to be in the CFP. Until you are one of those teams that we do that every year with it basically being a no-brainer, you haven't caught them. Now, ultimately, it might be easier just to wait for Nick Saban to retire and Alabama to backslide a little bit to catch them. But until you get to that point, you haven't caught anybody. You have to do it over a long strand of time.
But even when you get to that point, to wait out Nick Saban retiring, you've got to have your program properly positioned. LSU's done that. They are positioned well. I think Georgia's positioned well. Dan Mullen in Florida positioned pretty well. Tennessee growing, building. Everybody else in this, Auburn's pretty much there. You know, we maybe need this piece or that piece and a little bit of luck, but Auburn's positioned very nicely. Nationally, has Clemson caught Alabama?
Yes, Clemson, I think nationally has
so
caught
too.
Alabama because, like I said, they're one of the no-brainer picks. They're one of the Alabamas, and the Ohio States, and I think Clemson is that firm third program where when you start talking about CFP predictions and who's going to be there at the end when it's all said and done in January, that Clemson is one of the top 3-4 programs that you think of year in, year
Ohio
out.
State.
And, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, and I don't really think there is a necessary fourth team in college football that is there.
Maybe Oklahoma. Maybe,
but they
if
always
there's a
seem to
fourth,
do
maybe.
something like they did last year. They never make it to the game. They always lose in the first round. So until they actually make a championship game, I don't know if you can realistically put them in there. I think Georgia's kind of on the edge of that precedent of that pedestal in college football. But Clemson is definitely there. And for what Dabo has done to get over the quote-unquote Clemsoning to almost turn Clemsoning into a good thing.
He buried that. Yeah, he buried the Clemsoning. I don't want to be overly dramatic, but I do want to alert people of breaking news, all the national news, all the networks breaking into live programming, including into the baseball game to report that the president is being flown right now, Marine One, on the south lawn of the White House, and the president will be flown to Walter Reed Medical Center after positive COVID-19 tests. I don't know the extent. That's just exactly what is breaking right now on the lower third Chiron, and I'm trying to pass it along. President Trump being flown to Walter Reed Medical Center after positive COVID-19 test day. I don't think it's. I think it was planned to wait till after the markets closed for this. It might be weekend procedures there and testing, but I think it was probably pretty planned to wait until after the markets closed at 3 o'clock today to do that. And also this weekend in the AAC, the Tigers tomorrow at SMU that we're all looking forward to. East Carolina against Georgia State. That game kicks at 11. South Florida at Cincinnati. That game's at 2:30. Tigers, of course, at 2:30. Navy at Air Force. That's at 5 o'clock tomorrow. afternoon into tomorrow evening, and Tulsa at UCF tomorrow night at 6:30 for the AAC this weekend. This fall is going to be a great fall. I love talking about the new All-Star Chevys at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. I've told you about them for weeks now. You'll love them. You'll not find more Silverados anywhere, and you won't find any for a lot less than this. This is a place to be. If it's a new Chevy you want, Olive Branch is where you need to be. Come drive one of the new Tahoes or Blazers, drive a new Traverse, a Camaro, and try out the Impalas. They've won all the awards. We're talking 20-somethings for the Impalas. You can even get thousands in cash back. Don't forget, it's not the Pike, it's not South Haven, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. And down there at All-Star Chevrolet, check out the certified pre-owned Chevy deals. The lot's full, Tahoes, Malibus, Impalas, Suburbans, and everyone at All-Star with one job. Make sure you get the best deal, have fun doing it, and do it in record time. And everyone at All-Star also thanks our first responders for what they do each and every day. Find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com. We talk the high school football scene, and we do that next with our high school football analyst, Coach Glenn Rogers. He's next on Sportstime.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
It is time for the final clearance sale at James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Listen to this, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. You heard me, James Davis, 70 to 80% off on all spring and summer merchandise. Unreal selection of sports coats and sports shirts for your next Zoom call. Limited selection of shorts and knits, but there are some. If you get there, you'll get 70 to 80% off. Here's some of the brands you can save on during this incredible sale. Peter Millar, Sandstrom, Mac 5 Pocket. I'm talking 70 to 80% off while it lasts. The only place in Memphis that you can find the Stant custom shirt and pants system. Only at James Davis, this exclusive store for this unique custom fitting apparel where shirts start as low as $98, pants at $168. Go see it to believe it. The clearance sale at James Davis. The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive? Take the car for a couple of days if you want. Streamlined buying process. You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Napa know-how. At Napa, you can buy a 5-quart jug of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for just $27.99. And as a bonus, you'll score a $10 gift card by mail-in rebate. That's like a cherry on top of the cherry on top of your oil change. So get $10 back by mail when you buy a jug of Mobil 1. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales prices not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 10/31/20.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing.
Hey, Tiger fans, this is John Stacy of the Wolf Chase Honda Blue and Gray Show. You can hear Drew Barrett and I talk Tigers with Tigers every Sunday night at 5 right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7. You never know which Tigers great we'll have in the studio with us either. We'll get them to call in, too. We are your go-to show for Memphis Tigers football. That's the Wolf Chase Honda Blue and Gray Show right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave will join us from Dallas in about an hour. Breaking news on the College Bowl front. The Bahamas Bowl and the Hawaii Bowl, they've been canceled. So there'll be no sports on Christmas night. I might be the only one in the country that laid on Christmas night watching the Hawaii Bowl, but no shock there that a lot of these bowls will be canceled this year, as this is the year of cancellations for everything in sports, including the high school football scene. And joining us now to talk high school football, Glenn Rogers. And Coach Glenn Rogers at MUS, y'all have a cancellation tonight, and I'm very sorry for it.
Oh, no, absolutely. Stats, you and Drew, and good afternoon to all our listeners. And yeah, it's kind of, it's disappointing, but it's kind of unfortunate. And we just hope and pray that the kids at St. Benedict who've been affected by COVID-19 are doing well and they're safe and quarantining. But it's kind of, it's disappointing for the football guys. But, the game is rescheduled, and it was our homecoming tonight, and kind of disappointing for the homecoming court. But, the game is going to be rescheduled, and we just have to pick a queen in a couple of weeks from now.
And Glenn, I was waiting to hear. I wanted you to tell us about the number one high school junior in the country at St. Benedict.
I know that kid. Hey, Dave, I'm telling you, looking at him on tape all this week, the kid is big. He's explosive. He plays well with his hands, and so he's the type of player, stats that can be very, very disruptive to an offense. I mean, he can line up on the guard, the center, or tackle. And he can exploit that matchup all day long. And, he poses a lot of problems for an offense because of his size and his feet and his skill set. He's very good with his hands. And, the only thing I've seen that the flaw in his game is, he doesn't play just hard on every down. And mainly I think that's because some of the games have been blowouts. And so, mentally he's probably checked himself out. But boy, at the beginning of a lot of these games, man, he is a problem. I mean, a big-time problem. Any offensive line or any offensive scheme at all.
Coach, obviously sad to hear about the cancellation tonight against SBA, but y'all have rescheduled that game to October 23rd when y'all are supposed to play Bartlett. Do you know if Bartlett's looking into trying to get another game scheduled, or are we kind of past that to where you can pick up new opponents?
Well, hopefully they can get a game rescheduled. Tim Jones, the principal at Bartlett, and Chuck Bowler, one of the coaches here, good friends of mine, ex-college teammates, ex-Tigers. And hopefully they can get a game. I was really looking forward to that game with Bartlett, a quality opponent. And I just hate, we had to move that game in because St. Benedict is a district game for us, so that's going to be a lot of playoff implications for us. So we have to play that game. And just disappointed we're not going to play Bartlett because a lot of our kids and fans are really looking forward to that game with Bartlett because Bartlett is a quality team and a great opponent for us to have down the stretch. Before playoffs.
And last Friday night, Bartlett, pretty easy winners, 39-13 over St. Benedict. His MUS were easy winners, I think, over a quality opponent, 35-3 over Arlington tonight. Arlington, they host Brighton. You guys were probably playing your best football before yet another cancel or another delay, Coach.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Stats. You're starting to hit a stride with the team, and I think Coach Austin, our head coach, said it best yesterday when we gave the news to the kids that we couldn't play in the game, and it was tough to find a game in one day. But we had a great practice. I thought the seniors responded well to practice yesterday because Coach said you only can control what you can control, and so we had a great practice. Saw a lot of guys in the weight room today working out. We got another break next week. We're on fall break, and so it's good to see our kids kind of taking this thing pretty serious and doing what they can to keep their spirits up, working out. And Arlington was a quality opponent last week. Quarterback was outstanding. great, good facility out there. I mean, Stats, I don't know if you or Drew been out there, but the stadium was very, very nice, tucked off in there, and the school, the whole setup in Arlington was very, very magnificent seeing that. And the people came out. It was their homecoming last week. And good to see the folks out at Arlington. And, Bartlett beat St. Benedict last week. And so a lot of good high school games. A lot of teams are trying to hit this stride. And just hate we had a cancellation tonight because we got to bye next week.
Yeah, just when you guys were starting to really play well, and you're right about that setup at Arlington, they take a lot of pride out. I was out there opening, week 0 on Friday night, August 21st, and it was just treated so well, and they were very, very careful. I think about as professional, but yet careful and really harping on in the right kind of way. Stay socially distant, watch the row you're setting on, have your mask on, and that was in August. And now with the news today and the news transpiring now that President Trump is being taken to Walter Reed, it's out of an abundance of caution, but that report breaking now that he is being transferred to Walter Reed for more tests. Coach Rogers, you just have to keep harping to all your youngsters, fans, and families and friends alike to be careful.
And you're right, Stats. It's the pandemic is serious. People got to take it serious, and really hate it for these young people. I got a 17-year-old daughter that's she's a teenager, and kids that want to get out and do normal things. And it's just this day and age, as parents, you got to protect your child, you got to protect your children. As coaches, we got to protect the kids that we coach. And so, my wife and I, and I'm sure coaches around the city and around the country and other parents, you got to err on the side of safety and precaution. And so, a lot of things going on, a lot of fall breaks are coming up, and, a lot of kids want to go to the beach and hang out and do things normal, but it's not normal times. And so as parents, we got to be the responsible ones for our young children and young children that we have with us. And as coaches, we got to set the right message to keep these kids safe and do things with the CDC guidelines to keep these kids safe.
You're right, Coach. Obviously, it's hard to living in this new normal, but it's time that we all just need to take responsibility and to do what we ultimately have to do to try to keep everybody safe. And your crosstown rivals, Christian Brothers, they've been hit by this pandemic, not personally, but as far as scheduling-wise, they don't even have a game, I think, scheduled until October 30th. With that much time off, has their star running back in Dallin Hayden done enough to kind of lock up Mr. Tennessee football? And if not, who do you think is right behind him for it?
Well, I think Dallin, he's a special player, a special talent. Of course, he's had a big year, he's almost at 2,000 yards right now. So, he's a special player. Absolutely, he should be mentioned in that Mr. Football category. I think Michael Dallas over at Briarcrest is another young man that's put up big numbers as a quarterback. It's unfortunate they lost last week to Pope John Paul. He threw a couple of interceptions, but I think overall he's done some body work to be mentioned in that category. I think Pennington, the young man over at ECS, the big offensive tackle, he should be in that category mentioned as well for Mr. Football. And I'm sure there's other guys around the state that I haven't mentioned. And I know NBA's got a tailback that's outstanding. He's gonna probably be in the category. I'm sure it's their quarterback, Reed. His dad's the head coach at Tennessee State. So a lot of young men in our league that should be mentioned. I'm sure there's a lot of other guys around the state that should get some mention as well.
And another team that's had a long delay since their last game, Lausanne, back in action tonight. They're playing at ECS.
Yeah, big game tonight, Stats. ECS with Pennington and Jalen Greenwood. They're all everything. Super fast tailback. Should be they beat last year. They beat Lausanne to knock them off from going to the state finals again. And so this is a big ball game tonight for both teams. Lausanne hasn't played in a while. They've been quarantined. ECS is coming off a loss to Houston. So this is a game I'm sure both coaches are really harping the importance of this ball game and the importance of the kicking game tonight. And this is going to be a game. If this is a normal game, this will be a big crowd tonight. And hopefully they get enough fans in there to make it, fun, a fun atmosphere for the guys on the field tonight.
And a really interesting matchup tonight in Collierville is Collierville will host Cabot, Arkansas, and that will welcome back to Memphis and Shelby County Coach Scott Reed, who started, I think his first head coaching job was at Bartlett in the late 80s, and then to Far City and to El Dorado, now at Cabot, state champion and great coach. His son was the quarterback at Memphis a few years ago. Cabot and Collierville tonight. We wouldn't have gotten that matchup without this crazy 2020 year, Coach Rogers.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and Joe Riccone, I'm sure, and Coach Scott. And, you know, you got to find games for kids. You got to find games for your program. And, you know, when games get canceled, you got to, I mean, you know, yesterday Coach also now spent a lot of time on the phone at the last hour trying to find the game. And, you know, with Cabot, Arkansas coming over, Scott Reed bringing his troops over, it just tells you how coaches really, really want to get games played and really want to, you know, make sure these seniors, you know, are going out on the right note if you can find a game and you can be safe traveling and doing it. So hats off to Coach Reed and Cabot, the whole Cabot fan base that's traveling over with their young men and the parents that are coming over. And hats off to Joe Riccone for reaching out, getting the ball game. Because like you said earlier, Stats, you know, some of these games, you know, this game is not a ramification on playoff implications, but it's a game where you got to try to keep your team on a rhythm. You got to try to keep your team going in the right direction if you're going to push for a state championship or a playoff run. And so this is one of these games you got to play because you want to stay on a rhythm or get some momentum going in the right direction.
Glenn, how will the playoffs look in the state of Tennessee with all these missed games and teams not playing, missing the whole year? How will the playoffs look?
I tell you, it's going to be, you know, to get the folks up at TWS, they got their work cut out for them because, you know, they still haven't decided on the city schools here in Memphis. And, you know, hopefully these young men will get a chance to play. But, you know, everybody else is playing and, you know, all the teams in Nashville are playing. It's going to be interesting how they seed these teams. And you know, I know our seeding format is going to still take place. It's 6 teams on each side, only 4 going to get in. And so we're scratching and clawing and trying to be one of the 4 because you want to host the game. And I know we're going to have to go on the road, but we're trying to fight to host the game and sit in that second or third slot to where we can host the game. And, you know, because it's going to be interesting. You know, you don't want to get off off to the start traveling early on because that's going to put you behind 8 ball. And the only thing about traveling now, you're not going to a very, very hostile environment with all the fan base being there. But you still don't want to make those road trips because you want to play in familiar sites and familiar territory, which is your own backyard. And so it's going to be interesting how the folks at TWSAA get these playoffs seeded and get teams going in the direction they should be going in.
Your Tigers tomorrow again against SMU. Give us a prediction.
Boy, I tell you, you know, it's been a long layoff for Coach Silverfield and the staff, and I'm just anxious to see these guys get back to work. You know, we got 3 kids playing out. One, Tim Hart, is opted out, and I'm just excited for those guys at Memphis, Devontae Nelson and Matt Rose and Thomas Pickens, all 3 young men. Just excited for them to play, to get a chance to play in the opponent. It's been a month. I heard Drew said this earlier. This has been the longest Tiger layoff in the school's history. The last one was 22 days. And so I know Coach Silverfield is anxious. I know the kids are anxious. You know, I think we'll go down to SMU and put on a good show. These guys are wrestlers, and they're ready to block and tackle and get after somebody. So I'm excited to see the Tigers get out there because I think we got a great chance to make a run at the AAC championship and host that game in December at the Liberty Bowl.
We will be watching, and we will visit with you again next Friday. Have a great week, and stay well for all of you and yours, Coach Rogers. We'll visit next Friday.
Thank you, Stats. You're doing. Y'all have a blessed day and be safe. And go Tigers, go.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it. Coach Glenn Rogers talking high school football with us. Bartlett also, they'll play tonight against Houston. And at this hour, Woj is reporting Miami Heat All-Star Bam Adebayo will miss Game 2 of the finals night against the Lakers, but there remains hope that he could return for Game 3 on Sunday. The Heat have listed him as doubtful tonight, but he's not doubtful. He will not play tonight. And again, out of an abundance of caution, President Trump is being transported to Walter Reed for the next few days. He has experienced symptoms. He is symptomatic. He has experienced chills, fever, congestion, And out of the abundance of caution, he is being transported to Walter Reed, and we'll see if the 25th Amendment or something is utilized to secure the vice president to be away from crowds. Now more than ever, now more important than ever for Mike Pence to stay away from almost anybody, because I don't think we could have both of them becoming ill at the same time.
No, we can. It might be time for Vice President Pence to be secluded into a bunker. might need to take him. Might need to take him underground. And regardless of how you feel about the election or how you feel about individuals, I wouldn't be some of the people on Twitter that have been overexcited about it. Basically wishing him ill will. You shouldn't be doing that for anybody. So I do hope that the president gets better and maybe starts to take it a little bit more serious now that he's had to deal with it.
Maybe we all need to redouble our efforts on taking it more serious. When we come back, we'll talk about the day in baseball. The Cubs have been eliminated. It will not be a Cubs versus White Sox World Series as they both lose in the first round. The Cubs swept. White Sox lost 2-1. When we come back, we'll talk about the baseball tonight and the baseball going forward as teams are advancing. You are listening to Sports Time on Sports 56.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
It's buyback days. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Did you pay a big repair bill on your existing heating and air conditioning system this year? Is your energy-guzzling heating and air conditioning system on its last leg and you think it's worth nothing? Good news, it's buyback days at Conway Services. We'll buy back your repair this year up to $1,500 toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. That's right, we'll buy back your repair up to $1,500 even if we didn't do the repair. Just show us the receipt from another company and we'll buy back the repair. If you didn't have a repair bill this year, we'll give you up to $1,500 trade-in for that old energy-guzzling system toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. When air conditioning systems get older and inefficient, the cost of repairs and high utility costs can almost pay for a new system. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Oh, my stomach.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews. The same fast relief of Pepto-Bismol, now in a delightful chew.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
All the sports this weekend. I know a great place to go and stock up for the weekend. That's at Jason's Deli. Get things to go. Catering anytime, anywhere. and you will love the food. All the locations, the one on Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Start early tomorrow to watch all the AAC and SEC games. The Tigers in that 2:30 window of games, the SEC CBS game then, Ole Miss later in the day, and then the games tomorrow night, State and Arkansas tomorrow night. Stop by Jason's Deli for all the salads, all the meats, breads, spreads, all the great food. They like to say wholesome food forever. It's a family thing, and it really is at Jason's Deli. And this time of year, I think we are into soup season, the fire-roasted tortilla, the broccoli cheese, the chicken noodle. I love just the chili with cheese and onions and sour cream on top, the spicy seafood gumbo. You can get it all at Jason's Deli. It's all about choice at Jason's Deli, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selection. Plenty of organic to choose from, and that salad bar. I mentioned the salads, like the Mesa chicken salad and the chicken club salad, just the salad bar, over 30 items to choose from. You make your selection. They will prepare it for you. Mention the catering anytime, anywhere, and in the restaurants, in the locations at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. Wrap it up with the free ice cream. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. The Cubs are eliminated. We said we would be there for Dave. We really have to be there for him with both the North and the South Siders eliminated from the playoffs, Drew.
And with both the North and the South Siders, we've got to give both big shoulders for him.
Both big shoulders for our Wolo. And he I think
all
he
week
really
he wanted that Chicago series.
The City Series. They didn't even come close. And in all seriousness, this ends this stretch of the Theo, Joe Madden, this year David Ross, Cub magic. It started in 2015 with eliminating the Cardinals, losing in the NLCS that year, and then in 2016 winning it. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So over 6 years, they just got one. I thought it was more than one in there for them. Did you?
I thought that there was, especially after that 2015 season where they just looked incredible. I mean, ultimately, like you said, did lose in the CS series, and then coming out in 16.
Mix, had that veteran mix,
exactly.
Theo,
you thought everything was in place right at the right time.
Plenty of money. They would make the right moves in free agency. And when I say just one, now we know what that one did. It ended
108 years.
The most talked about curse in the history of sports and jinx in the history of sports. It ended that. So a lot of Cub fans would have told you then, quit talking about 2 or 3. We'll just take one. Well, they got one. I just thought it would be more than that because paralleling the Cubs with the Red Sox ending their fabled curse, and I think they really started kind of ending it the year before they officially did in 2004 with losing in the LCS to Aaron Boone's home run. So over their first 6 years, they got 2. They got it in 4 and in 7 and kept it going after that. It feels like it's really over for a while for the Cubs as they will kind of tear down and build back up.
Yeah, and we're going to know whether it's completely over depending on how the rebuild goes about. If they can rebuild, if they can stock up more great young talent, that bringing them through their farm system in the minor leagues and can have an ultimate kind of a second rise like the Red Sox have, I think they've got a great shot. I think Theo obviously has done it once. He can probably do it again. But and you're exactly right. You should never really knock a team, even though they had the expectations for probably 2, maybe even 3. You should never really knock a team for only winning 1. I mean, heck, my team's going on 37 years, and we ain't even close to breaking it.
Well, in my team, it's been 9 years.
No, come on, don't start. That's
that's
why it's my Padres, because of that right there. That's why it's my Padres.
Well, there's no need to hate cheer like that.
I am hate cheering.
You said you had a high hard one for me around these playoffs.
Oh yeah, I do have a high hard one for you. Is it more shocking that the Marlins are now 7-0 in playoff series in their short history, or that Billy Beane and Brad Pitt finally got over the hump and won a playoff series?
Well, they're really one and the same, Billy Beane and Brad Pitt. You know, it's the same guy because that's who played him in the Fame movie. And you're on to something. I think it's the Marlins because they are really bad more times than not. But Derek Jeter, he was turning around. Nobody thinks they would have stood the long season, do they? I'm not for any asterisk this year.
There's no way they would have made it.
But if the Marlins won it, there's no way they hang around over 162, is it?
No, there's no way. And honestly, you know, if a team like the Astros wins it, I think we could have somewhat of an asterisk conversation due to the fact that they got in the playoffs with a losing record.
All right, I'm gonna hit you rapid fire. You tell me asterisk or no asterisk. If the Rays win it, do they get that scarlet letter?
No asterisk.
Scarlet asterisk.
No asterisk. Rays were going into this season a full 162. Thought they could have done it. We're in the playoffs last year.
Yankees.
No asterisk.
No, you can't do that. You know, if you didn't put one by Maris with the Yankees in 61, you're not doing it in 2020. What about the Dodgers?
No, because once again, they were primed to do it over a full 162, and especially, I mean, they went 43-17 in that 60-game season. I think just to kind of move it up a little bit faster, the only asterisk that I would really consider putting is a team that was around 500, maybe only 2-3 games over 500 or under 500.
So you wouldn't to the A's?
I wouldn't to the A's.
Cardinals?
Cardinals, maybe. I mean, you didn't finish all 60 games. You had a lot of 7-inning games. I mean, you had over
a lot of drama.
What, 22 7-inning games?
Yeah, a lot of 7-inning affairs. And Padres, is this how you want to win your first one ever? If you're Rays and Padres,
you take it any way you can get it. If it's your first, you take. Yeah, I think you do. You still get the commissioner. At the end of the day, you still have a commissioner's trophy in somebody's office. Braves, no asterisk. Were there last year. Really good young team that did finish 10 games over 500. So I'll give them a pass as well.
Lots of Braves fans in this area, we have said that we think the Braves are the number 2 team in this area. Cardinals clearly are number 1. Whether you're a Cardinal fan or not, just accept that. I mean, I just don't think there's some things worth arguing about. That's not one of them. Second, I think, is the Braves. To Brave detractors, you could say the last time you won one was a strike-shortened year and then a 60-game year. Do you want to win it that way? Yeah.
You still win it. You still take it. Like I said, you still have a commissioner's trophy in the building. You take it any way you can get it.
And for the Dodgers, first time since 1988, they would take it about any way they can get it. That's really all they've lacked the last few years. All we lack is one more hour today. We want you to stay with us for that hour. We will go to Dallas. Dave will join us. We'll have our Friday football forecast from First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas and First National Bank and Trust in Memphis. That will be at 5:30. We'll wrap up the day with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But when we come back to start this last hour, we talk NBA, and we do it with Andy Schiffman. That's next.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You're scrambling around. You need a haircut. Where you gonna go? I got a place that has 15 locations. I've got a place where details matter. I've got a place that can be invigorating and relaxing at the same time. You know what it is. It's Supercuts. Every haircut ends with the signature hot towel finish. Every haircut matters. When you're getting ready, you go into Supercuts. The stylist will pay attention to every detail, so you get the haircut you want, and of course, you're going to finish with that signature hot towel. You walk out clean, sharp, and not just ready, but super ready. And you might want to ask that hairstylist about what the tea tree experience is. One part invigorating, one part relaxing. The tea tree experience is something you need to try. 15 locations. I mentioned that, didn't I? All you've got to do is go to supercuts.com. You'll find the one nearest to you. Get super ready at Supercuts.
I love the real estate business. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. I've been selling real estate a long time. What I love is having people ask me how some houses sell so quickly and others sit. That's an easy answer. Any agent can sit and tell you what you want to hear. I tell you what you need to know. I give you options and alternatives. I'm a firm believer in preparation, presentation, and proper pricing. We discuss that and my unique Shellbucks option. Beating your competition down the street or around the corner is the name of the game. So if you or someone you know is thinking of selling, talk to 2 to 3 real estate agents and make sure that I am one of them. Find out why my strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option can mean the difference in whether you sit or sell. You'll find out why people often say when you want the job done, call Shell Done. You can reach me at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Shell Done Rosengarten. 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join Pete Cordelli and me for Sidelines, Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1 FM. We'll cover the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, recruiting. Hey, if they keep score, we're covering it. Check us out on the website at sports56whbq.com and sidelines.live. Sidelines is brought to you by Duncan Williams Asset Management. Saturday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. Get up and give us a call.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, WPGFLP Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour on this very, very busy Friday. We talk NBA Finals coming up tonight. Game 2 of those NBA Finals. We talk basketball at this time every Friday with Andy Schiffman, our agent in Chicago, native Memphian, now based in Chicago. We talk Heat and Lakers with him, and there are a lot of ways to enjoy the weekend of sports, and I know one great way, and that's FanDuel. There are more ways to win than ever before on the FanDuel Fantasy app. From daily fantasy to new season-long contests, you can play for free or join paid games to compete for real cash prizes. Right now, FanDuel giving new players 20% on their first deposit, up to $500 in bonus credit added instantly into your new account. Enter now to play in Sunday slate and single game contests, or try your luck in Gridiron Pick'em. Just pick the winners of Sunday's NFL matchups correctly for your chance to earn up to $5,000 every week. Absolutely free. And when you win, FanDuel, they pay out your winnings in as little as 24 hours. If you haven't tried FanDuel yet, what are you waiting for? Simply download the FanDuel Fantasy app today to get started and claim your deposit bonus of up to $500. Age and location-based restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Go online and check out the many happy referrals at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 662-890-7184 down in DeSoto County, and they will guarantee you will have a very, very pleasing, happy car buying experience. They know we're living in a world today that time matters. They keep it very simple for you. They want you to have the ultimate car experience. You walk in, you deal with the kind, courteous employees, the laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. Find the car you want, get credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than 45 minutes, less than an hour, guaranteed. In time to do it over your lunch hour or right now to start your weekend and start it strong at DeSoto Auto Sales down on Goodman Road, 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down for that town and country experience that you will enjoy at DeSoto Auto Sales. Not enjoyable, the injury report for the Miami Heat. Andy Schiffman, I said to Drew earlier today, almost like the Heat that they're battling now with both arms tied behind their backs. It was going to be tough enough, Hale and Hardy. This just makes it almost impossible. Good afternoon, Andy.
Afternoon, guys. Absolutely. It's devastating news if you are a Heat fan or if you work for the Miami Heat organization. You're going to have to dig yourself out of a hole and really, really, really rely on your bench and some unsung heroes for tonight. I think go out there and do your best. You're going to have to, Jimmy Butler's going to have to really carry a large load tonight. You need to get great production from Tyler Hero. You need to get great production from Iguodala. Kelly Olynyk needs to step up. Solomon Hill. I think Derek Jones Jr. and Kendrick Nunn, they're going to have more of a role. So it's the talent level is obviously there's a huge drop-off for the Heat for tonight and what the Lakers will face. But I believe me, I can guarantee you LeBron and the Lakers aren't sitting there taking their foot off the gas pedal, thinking that they can coast a little bit tonight. Especially, I don't know if you saw how LeBron reacted after they had a huge lead the other night. Guys were going back to the bench, jawing at one another, just kind of really lackadaisical and overly excited and making just jovial gestures on the sidelines. And LeBron called everybody out and said, "Look, there's 4 games to win. This isn't over after we win this one. So we got to straighten up and fly right, and let's act professional and celebrate when we actually hang a banner, not just because we have a big lead." And he made a good point. He's been in games where he thought they were over and took the foot off the gas pedal, like I mentioned, and next thing you know, his team gets blindsided and they lose the game. And so the good thing is for the Lakers, they've got someone in LeBron leading them with experience in those situations, and they're obviously playing a little bit of a, I would say crippled, or not crippled, but just, not a full-strength Miami squad tonight. So I would expect the Lakers to go up 2-0, and if they don't have Goran Dragic for the rest of the series, it seems like Bam Adebayo could be back by Game 3. I think he'll definitely try and play, but the Lakers, barring any injury, I would be shocked if they don't win this thing in 4 or 5 games at this point.
Andy, you mentioned a couple of players for the Heat, but as far as Jimmy Butler, I mean, he's given you so much here in the bubble, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Does he have a next level to give Miami left in him that could ultimately lead to a win?
I do. I think he does. I think a guy like Jimmy Butler, and there are very few players, Drew, in the NBA that can really, again, take it up another notch. And those players are the elite level superstars. I mean, you saw Jimmy Butler had 53 points in a game. I think it might have been last season even. And so Yes, absolutely. He's capable. Now, is he going to go out there and do that tonight against a stacked Lakers squad? Remains to be seen. But I guarantee you he's got that on his mind tonight. He's putting it all on him, thinking, I have to go out there and set the world on fire, so to speak, to really carry us over and just keep us competitive. I don't think he can do it on his own. Another guy I mentioned that absolutely has to give them some productivity, who laid an egg the first game, is Duncan Robinson, who's been their premier elite-level perimeter shooter, along with Tyler Hero, who is another guy just has done so well in the playoffs and coming up empty in 27 minutes without even scoring a point the other night really hurt the Heat. And so bottom line is, for them to be competitive, even just to keep it respectable, they have to get some major productivity for some players who might not have otherwise been able to step up if they had Bam and Goran being healthy.
Andy, for the Miami Heat now being officially ruled out for the rest of, or no, I'm sorry, ruled out for Game 2 of the NBA Finals.
Well. You can go ahead and stand by that statement, probably.
Oh yeah, Goran Dragic, and it's a shame for Dragic that in a free agent year, team's second leading postseason scorer, 19.9 points a game, and with the torn plantar fascia and that injury. The worst anything in the foot ankle area, it's torn Achilles. This may be second worse.
Yeah, no, a torn plantar fascia can definitely keep a player out for a very long time. I've dealt with many players with a similar injury. I mean, could be potentially 6 months to more. It just kind of depends. It doesn't help that Goran Dragic is also 34 years old. He's not 24. He's definitely kind of on that back end of his career. But look, you mentioned free agent year. He is 34, but at the same time, people recognize what he's done for this Miami Heat team in these playoffs, and they recognize look, if you're a team out there that needs this summer, or not really a summer at this point, whenever free agency is, if you're a team that needs veteran leadership and who just brings the winning experience to a team, I think he's going to be still highly sought after. I would be surprised if the Heat let him go, to be honest. It definitely is not ideal, though, just like you mentioned, Brett, going into a free agent year off of a significant injury that's going to keep you out of the biggest stage of professional basketball in the NBA Finals.
Andy, on the other side, for the Lakers, and you're obviously in a city where I don't think anybody would openly admit that they think LeBron is better than Michael Jordan. Do you think that getting number 4 at least kind of makes that conversation a little bit closer to a lot of people that are so heels dug into the ground, Michael over LeBron?
Well, look, you're going to have people here in Chicago that will never admit that, and I think you'll also have a lot of people in that same vein, Drew, bring in all these external factors. Say, well, true, Michael had Scotty, but LeBron has a superstar in Anthony Davis, and he has, if they win 4 here, they win their 4th championship, or LeBron does, you can sit there, the naysayers can talk about, well, it was against a beat-up Miami Heat team. It was against a team that was roughly, I think, they were the 4th or 5th seed in the East this year. You didn't do it against the cream of the crop in Milwaukee, for example, in the finals. You didn't have to go through Milwaukee at all. And so you can bring up all these reasons. But I do think, and there was an interesting stat, I think LeBron, each of the last 10 years has been in the NBA Finals, or maybe 9 of the last 10 years. So you're talking about teams like the Heat, the Cavs, and the Lakers. That's hard to refute. You look at how good he is everywhere he goes. Not only does he win, but he wins at the highest level and brings his team to the brink of an NBA championship. That is definitely hard to argue. I do not believe anyone in Chicago will ever put LeBron over MJ and think that he's getting closer because he has 4 championships if he does win his 4th here in the finals. Other parts of the country, I think there'll be people that say, look at the age that he's at, still doing what he's doing, making everyone better around him. He's in the conversation along with Kobe and MJ as the greatest to ever play the game. And it's an ongoing debate that will be forever ongoing.
It sure is, and it's lively. I love the passion on both sides. I just don't like when they want to drag me in and want to make me run one of them down over the other one because Andy, I'm not going to do. I'm just not going to do it. I don't think either one of those guys does. Sure not Michael Jordan, but not even how people pick at LeBron James. As you just so enunciated, there's always a but for some with him.
Yep.
For me, it's not. There will be no buts about this. In year one, Frank Vogel and Anthony Davis, they made it one year, one title.
Yep, absolutely. It's the perfect chemistry to bring in Frank Vogel, to bring in an Anthony Davis, to have a guy like Rajon Rondo, Danny Green, even guys with championship DNA and who just can go out there and win. And I think the biggest thing, and I was a little surprised at this because I just wasn't quite sure how these elite level players in AD and LeBron were going to mesh at the end of the year. But look, to their credit, they all bought in to Frank Vogel. And obviously everyone knows how LeBron can butt heads with head coaches. He did that with David Blatt years ago in Coach Blatt's first year with Cleveland and basically got him ousted from that position before Tyronn Lue took over. And so the fact that you've got superstars and LeBron and AD respecting and buying into Frank Vogel as his head coach was hugely valuable for their mission. Now, obviously, Frank Vogel has won. He's been with the Pacers, he's been with the Magic. He has been an experienced head coach before, whereas David Blatt was his first year as an NBA head coach that year. But I also think LeBron has grown up a lot since then and truly understands, and AD as well, look, we need to put the team first. We need to put winning first over our own accolades. And if we all go out there and have that same mindset and sentiment, good things will happen. And this is a testament to that mindset. This is a testament to how they've meshed and grown together. And look, it also is beneficial that you didn't have to play a full-on 82-game season when you're LeBron James into your mid-30s. That's definitely a little bit easier on your body. I think that's something that's not talked about enough. The fact that these players had so much time off, they're still staying conditioned, they're still in the gym, but you're not going out there playing 40 minutes every single night. The pounding that goes on your feet and your ankles and your legs, back-to-back games, you had some time between March and August to recover, and that was very, very beneficial for these veteran teams, these older teams. And I think it's fair to say the Lakers are an older team when you have the leader being in his mid-30s. You've got veteran guys like Rajon Rondo, Danny Green, etc. You're not a young Miami Heat team where your core is consistently made up of guys in their first few years, plus a Jimmy Butler and Goran Dragic, of course.
Very true, Andy. I think that ultimate rest that we got due to a global pandemic definitely did help out the Lakers. But switching topics a little bit, now that Doc Rivers, after I think less than a week of his firing from the Clippers, has agreed to be the 76ers' next head coach, do you think that more jobs will slowly but surely start to be taken, like a domino effect, or are teams going to kind of play the long game, really vet, really think about who they want, or are they just going to try to start snatching up guys before somebody else does?
Well, Drew, I think they're doing both of that. I think Philly was an exception where they were kind of going through playing that long game. It seems like there was a lot of traction with Mike D'Antoni, and Doc Rivers lost his job on a Monday, and literally 4 days later gets the job in Philadelphia. And I think that's a great hire by them. I would have done the same thing. I think he's exceptional coaching veterans, and you've got great veterans on the team in Philadelphia. They just need to grow together and get on the same page and stay healthy. And I think Doc will be absolutely great at that. I think Philadelphia was already in a position where you didn't necessarily have to rebuild. You just need to add another piece here and there to keep moving forward. And I think Doc is an exceptional part of that puzzle. Then you've got teams maybe like Indiana. Do you look to trade an Oladipo? Do you look to try and rebuild and go a little bit younger? I think they're going to be close to naming a head coach in the next week or so, but I think that process has been very fluid this whole time. There's no need to panic by any means. I think Mike D'Antoni, I think Tyronn Lue are going to be a couple candidates right now that are going to be probably named head coaches in the next few weeks, and I don't even know if Tyronn Lue is going to go to the Clippers. I think he's talking to a multitude of teams, including the Pelicans. I don't necessarily know what other higher level or viable candidates, Drew, will be all of a sudden available that aren't available now. I think Doc's departure from the Clippers was probably the last one you'll see. I don't really see any other jobs opening up. So I just also don't think there's going to be a hurry to fill a vacancy. I think teams like the Pacers and the Clippers and the Pelicans are still going to continue to vet the candidates they've been vetting, take their time, and make the best decision for their franchise. I think, again, you look at, do we go after a Mike D'Antoni type of coach who has been a head coach recently and has had success, and Tyronn Lue, who has been a head coach in Cleveland, he's had success there, or do you go after a similar blueprint, which Memphis did, and getting a younger, up-and-coming assistant coach? Again, I've said it before. I think if you're a up-and-coming team, and you saw Memphis do it, you saw Atlanta do it a couple of years ago with Lloyd Pierce, then it makes sense to kind of get an up-and-coming younger coach, give him the opportunity to coach the team on his own. And I think the move Philly did with Doc is right in line with where they're at with the franchise. So I personally would be surprised to see a team like the Clippers all of a sudden pivot and maybe bring in a younger coach to try and handle egos like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, when I think of Tyronn Lue, and I think Sam Cassell could be there as well to be a viable candidate to coach that Clippers team.
Yeah, I do too, Andy. I'm with you. I like the younger framework, go younger coach, older team that just needs kind of that experienced voice, hire that experienced voice, and Philly did that with Doc Rivers.
Or you do what the Nets did, right, and just coach by committee. Apparently.
Go crazy.
Doesn't matter if Steve Nash is going to be the head coach. The players, there's no head coach.
That's right. And we'll see how that one works out. Enjoy the games tonight and the rest of the weekend, and maybe the Heat can make it competitive. But even if it becomes the LeBron and the Lakers coronation, I think we can enjoy just having the NBA finally wrap up their season in these trying times. Andy, thank you for your time. We probably will wrap it up next Friday, and then you'll have about 2 weeks off, and we'll have the 2021 season starting right after that. Thank you, Andy.
Well, we'll talk draft, and then hopefully there'll be a baseball team that I can follow, since there's no more postseason baseball here in Chicago after today. So
come on, Andy, come back. Come back to your original hometown Cardinal roots. Come on back home, Andy.
I'm always rooting for the Cardinals, that's for sure, no matter what. Being here is different, but Cardinals have my heart, so I'm all in on them. They got to pull off this win tonight in advance.
Understood. Andy, have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Andy.
You got it. Andy Schiffman talking NBA with us. Cardinals and Padres tonight, and also tonight, Game 2 of the NBA Finals between the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers overwhelming favorites the rest of the way, and it looks like it has a sweep written all over it. Goran Dragic, as Andy said, he's not playing again. They can say out for tonight. Drew, what's your game watching plans for the Tigers and for college football tomorrow?
I haven't really nailed it down. It's going to be a nice day outside. Thought about trying to find a socially distanced patio. But
I got a place.
What do you?
Patio at Houston, Levy, and Poplar at the Collierville Commissary. I know how comfortable you are there because I saw you devouring all the food when we ate there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I did.
Take it outside tomorrow afternoon and watch the Tiger game there. It would be perfect. Plenty of space. Always very health conscious. Heck, Walker Taylor and his team, they were that conscientious about everything before the global pandemic. Everybody else really just caught up with them during this, but you can take it outside there at the Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar. Or you can always go to the original in Germantown. You can get it online. You can order it. You can pick it up. To have football watching parties tomorrow, 754-5540, or online at commissarybarbecue.com in Collierville and in Germantown. The great party areas at the new Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, and all that great Memphis-style barbecue. It means slow. It means barbecue nachos. It means wings. The smoked chicken wings, they're fantastic. Start that barbecue feast with all the appetizers, the cheese plate, the tamales. I mentioned the nachos, the creator, the inventor of the barbecue nacho. That's Walker Taylor in the Germantown Commissary. Then dig into the ribs of the barbecue shoulder, get it chopped. or pulled on a sandwich, a big sandwich, or you can get it on a plate. Comes with beans, slaw, deviled eggs, and bread as well. You can order it by the pound or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. We gave a 6-pack away early in the week to the Mississippi State fan that told us how wrong we had the Bullies picked and how right he was preseason. And so far he's right. And he's right in getting that 6-pack of barbecue from the Collierville or Germantown Commissary. 754-5540. Online at commissarybarbecue.com. It's not too early. In fact, it's getting that time. Put yourself on that list for the 36-hour holiday bird and the Brunswick stew. It's Brunswick stew season, and it's always great dessert season, like the best lemon icebox pie I've ever had anywhere, and the terrific banana pudding at both commissaries. The new Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar are the original in Germantown, and you know Walker Taylor will be pulling for his Tigers very, very hard tomorrow. How close do you think it'll be? I know we're getting ready to do our picks, but this quarterback matchup, this may be, well, when Brady White faces Central Florida at home in 2 weeks, that'll be a good one. But this is a dynamite quarterback matchup.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Sam Bruchel has gotten off to the exact type of start that we thought he would with the Mustangs in Dallas at SMU. And, of course, we all know what Brady White brings to the table. I think it really determines the offense, for as close as it is, it's not going to be on the shoulders of Sam Bruchel or Brady White. It's going to be on the defense, because we know that both these teams can score just like that to where it can be a high-scoring game. It's going to come down to who can force the most stops and who can get that timely turnover. Who can?
That's kind of modern football now.
Exactly.
Who can get the stops?
It's going to be on Coach McIntyre's defense, realistically, and how his system, a new system.
And you're not
at Memphis
asking
works.
for a shutout.
No.
You're not asking. You're not asking him to hold them even to 21, 24, 27. Just get some stops.
I think keep it around 30 and we win.
You know, last week, and I bragged about nailing this. You know, forever the box score nugget that I go to first is rushing yards. I think it still matters. The next one might be who punted the most or the least.
I think realistically that's probably the second one, because the way that college football has become to where teams do march up and down the field, score pretty much every possession, whoever punted more is probably the team that lost.
I think last week Ole Miss punted twice, Florida once. Ole Miss may have punted 3 times, but it wasn't many. I know Florida was one time. You know, the punters for each side, they were first to the hot water. They didn't have to do a whole lot last week.
No, they didn't. And the punter in college football around the country is like that, and especially in the Big 12. I don't even know if they have a punter on a single roster out there, because goodness gracious knows they ain't using it.
You need a backup quarterback in that league before you need a punter. When we come back, we'll have our First National Bank and Trust, the division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas Friday football forecast. We'll pick a lot of games, give you game analysis, and break down college and pro games. That's next on Sports Time.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Napa know-how.
At Napa, we've teamed up with AAA to save you 20% online or in store. That's why they call us the Savings Dream Team. Okay, we're the only ones calling us that, but it's true. Your AAA membership can save you 20% at Napa. So we're basically superheroes with the most specific power ever, saving you 20%. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
20% off regular retail prices with valid AAA membership card. Offer ends 10/31/20.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Time for the Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. For real estate, commercial, ag, hunting, and recreational, contact them at fnbt.com or 901-498-5763.
Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Real estate isn't something you purchase or develop or desire. It's something you appreciate, respect, and know. With real estate, there's no gray area. You either know it or you don't. First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, they've known it since their beginning in 1886. Clients depend on First National Bank because they know real estate. Brooks Winchester, Nick Sutton, and many more can assist you in your acquisition of that hunting land, farmland, a construction project. Let First National Bank and Trust make your dreams a reality. 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 140 in Memphis, 901-498-5763 or fnbtmemphis.com. That's fnbtmemphis.com. For commercial real estate, residential construction, or recreational and agriculture financing, let First National Bank and Trust help you, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, where I've had an account and been a friend my entire life.
Dropping to third place last week. Now on the season, Drew Barrett, you are 20 wins, 24 losses. That's minus 2 points. Last week, a great week for me. I am 21 and 23 on the year. I'm at minus 1. And the leader, and also hockey genius, joins us now from Dallas, Dave Woloshin, 26 and 18 on the season, plus 12 points. Dave, we're glad you are with us. We will start with that game you are calling tomorrow. 2:30 kickoff in Dallas at Gerald Ford Stadium. The Tigers, 2.5-point favorites over SMU. You pick first. Voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Well, I don't think we're going to see 102 points. I don't think we're going to see 1,067 yards, but we're going to see two really good quarterbacks in Buechele and in White. And I think Brady is ready. The thing that scares you about this game is, frankly, that Memphis has not played in a month, that Memphis has had no live tackling. But Memphis has had their way with SMU 6 times in a row. They've averaged in those 6 wins 50 points. I think they're going to put up some points. The key here is they are going to have to stop Ulysses Bentley, the running back. Running or stopping the run from Memphis may be the biggest key in the game. I think they'll do it. They are really only giving away 2.5 points. I like that number. I like the Tigers.
Man, great assessment. Sounds like you're ready to do a broadcast or something tomorrow. Drop the mic on that one.
I've navigated my way to Dallas, and now I'm ready, baby. And they, by the way, are here too.
You sound ready. Drew, I smell a group lock. I'm with the Tigers. 38-31, Tigers win the game. And, Dave, here's you a note for postgame that Drew reminded me of earlier. After the game tomorrow, a week off. So for the Central Florida game, it'll be 3 games in 42 days. So, Drew, your pick on the Tigers and Ponies.
Yeah, we're going to have a group lock here. Like I said before we went to break, I think the game really relies on Mike McIntyre's defense. And like Dave said, they haven't had a lot of live tackling. If they can come up with the timely stop, can force a late 3-and-out, then Tigers get it done. So give me the Tigers minus the 2.5.
Memphis wins, all of us, across the board. Tigers win tomorrow in East Tennessee, in Knoxville, early tomorrow, 11 o'clock kickoff, Memphis time, noon at Neyland Stadium. Tennessee, 11.5-point favorite over Mizzou. Tennessee able to just gnash out a win last week. Mizzou, a good fourth quarter against Alabama. Drew, well-known Tennessee hater that you are, your pick on Tennessee minus 11.5 over Mizzou.
I'm not a Tennessee hater. I just think I'm more realistic with Tennessee than a lot of people on this side of the state and on that other side of the state. No, I'm going to go with Tennessee. Missouri looked kind of impressive, especially down the stretch against Alabama last week, but Tennessee and Garantano and company really did impress me in that good win against South Carolina on the road last week. Give me the Vols minus 11.5, and never thought I'd say that.
Dave?
I can't disagree with Drew this time. Tennessee is hot. They keep winning. I'm going to ride with them until they win. There's all this talk about Garantano, but he's winning, and it was their defense that was more troubling, I think, against South Carolina. But anytime you win on the road in the SEC, come on. Tennessee, 11.5. It's a big number, but it's a number I think they handle easily. I'll take the Vols.
Group lock, I don't know about easily, but Tennessee, they have shown that they can win those grinded-out games. Obviously, Coach Jeremy Pruitt's gotten them tougher, and he's gotten them to where they believe in those close games. They win the game by the 11.5. I have Tennessee winning 31-17. Ole Miss on the road in Lexington tomorrow, Kentucky at 3 o'clock. 6.5-point favorites over Ole Miss. Dave?
I'm going to take Kentucky in this football game. They are at home. They had a tough opponent in the last game. This is a team that can score. Ole Miss can too, but it's 6.5 you got to give away at home. And this is a team that was a real fashionable team to take. And if it's less than a touchdown, if it were 8-9, I think I'd go with Ole Miss. I think Kentucky by about 8 or 9.
I have Kentucky winning the game, but Ole Miss covering the point spread. Won a thriller up there in 2017. Tomorrow, I think Kentucky barely edges out Ole Miss. 28-27, Kentucky, they get the win. Drew?
Man, that darn Vegas, they know what they're doing with the lines, because if it was minus 7.5, I'd take Ole Miss in this one, but I think Kentucky's just exactly 7 points better than Ole Miss. Terry Wilson didn't have the greatest week back coming off that injury from last year, but I think he gets it rolling at home. I think Kentucky pulls it out by a single touchdown.
Single touchdown. They do have this game really well done. I do think Kentucky wants to make it a lot more physical than even the Florida game was. For as beautiful athletes that Florida had and all the points they scored, that was not a line of scrimmage game. That was kind of a 7-on-7 game. I think Kentucky wants to make it more of a line of scrimmage game. The South's oldest rivalry, 6:30 tomorrow night. Georgia, 6.5-point favorite over Auburn. Give me the Georgia Bulldogs, 24-13 over Auburn. Drew?
I was really disappointed in how Georgia looked. I think they win the game, but it's going to come down to a field goal. Give me Auburn plus the points.
Dave?
I think this is the game of the week. I think it was the toughest game this week to pick. I think Georgia, though, wants to prove something, especially after that terrible first half they had against Arkansas last week. I think Georgia gets Auburn by 10 points. Give me the Dogs.
So I take Georgia. Dave takes Georgia. Drew, you take Auburn. 6:30 tomorrow night in Starkville, Mississippi State. Last weekend's darlings, 18.5 point favorites over Arkansas. Arkansas, an inspired effort against Georgia at home. I'm going to take Arkansas plus the 18.5, but State wins 34-17. So Arkansas barely gets there with the cover. Dave?
I bid on that last week. I bid on Arkansas to get to that was a 26-point line. I don't think so. Not with that air raid clicking the way it is. And this game is in Starkville. It's the first game at home for the Mike Leach era. I got to go with Mississippi State. I think they win by 3 touchdowns.
Drew?
I'm with you, Dave. The maroon and white and the pirate, they keep it rolling in Starkville, so give me State.
Now it's college football lock and shock time. I'll go first. We had Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com with us about an hour and a half ago talking about the game in Tuscaloosa. I think Alabama tears A&M apart. Alabama wins big, 42-10. That easily covers the 17.5. So my college football lock, Alabama. Dave?
I can't understand how Arkansas State, going into Memphis, giving them a heck of a game, going into Manhattan, Kansas, and knocking off a team that beat Oklahoma, is the underdog at Coastal Carolina. I know Coastal Carolina's 2-0, but I'm all over Arkansas State in this one. They got to give away 3.5. That's easy. No problem. Arkansas State wins and covers.
And that win, we talked about it, Drew and I talked about it, Dave, that win over Arkansas State, it looks better every passing week for the Tigers, and it looked pretty darn good 28 days ago. Drew, your college football lock.
I promise I wrote these up 2 hours ago. But it makes me feel a lot better when Bruce Marshall agrees with me. Give me North Texas and the Mean Green minus 1.5 over Southern Miss.
North Texas. Bruce loves that game. North Texas minus 1.5 over USM. And
Southern Miss is terrible. They lost their coach right after the second game for various reasons. Mutiny on that team. It is not a together team. I don't blame you. I'd be betting against Southern Miss all year.
Good pick, Drew. A lot going on with Southern Miss. All right, college football shock. You shocked me first, Dave.
I'm going to take South Carolina. They go to Florida. They're getting 18.5. This is a team that showed some moxie in their comeback last week, or in their attempt to come back against Tennessee. I know Florida can score some points, but I think South Carolina will lose this game by 2 touchdowns, but not 18.5. The shock is South Carolina on the cover.
Yeah, and your college football lock was Arkansas State minus the 3.5. We had someone text and say
they're giving away 3.5. Correct.
Yeah, they're giving away. Yeah, we had it down right. You may have said that, but it is minus 3.5. I like your angle on South Carolina over Florida. Florida was impressive, but it was the offense that was impressive to me tonight. For me, college football shock. It's tonight's game. Give me Louisiana Tech plus 25.5 over BYU. BYU looked great in that opening game against Navy, but I don't know if they're that much better than the Skip Holtz coach Bulldogs. Drew, your college football shock.
My love for Derek Mason has bitten me in the butt too many times than I can count, but they came through for me last week, so I'm going to stay on the west end of Nashville. Give me Vandy plus 21.5 at home against LSU. You're not calling the straight-up upset, are you? No. I love Derek Mason. I think I love Derek Mason more than anybody in these airways, but I'm not that crazy.
All right, hurry up, no huddle offense time for us as we get into the NFL. Noon on Sunday, Indianapolis, 2.5-point favorite at Soldier Field over the Bears. Give me Dave's Bears. Bears win 28-24. Dave, you went against your Bears last week. Please tell me. Come on back home, Dave. Come back home, please.
Bear down, Chicago Bears. You're giving me 2.5. You're undefeated, and I got Nick Foles. Are you crazy? That's an easy one. Bears
Nick
all the
Foles
way.
fan there. Drew?
Completely different than what he said last week, but show sweet, give me the Bears.
Show sweet, group lock on the
Bears. Holy smoke.
So the Bears lose this week, apparently.
Dallas, noon kickoff in Cleveland, 4.5-point favorites. The Cowboys on the road. How Give me Dallas to win, but not to cover. Dallas wins the game 21-20, so give me the Browns plus the 4.5. Drew?
I still can't buy into the Browns. I think Dallas will figure it out. They've got too much talent. Give me the Cowboys.
I don't necessarily buy into the Browns, but I don't buy into the Cowboys either. You know, Mayfield's got things going here a little bit. He's starting to come around again, and Dallas has not shown me 4 quarters in a football game yet in Cleveland, and I'm getting 4.5. I'll take the Browns, and I think they win the game.
Exactly. 325, Super Bowl champs, Kansas City, 7.5-point favorites over New England. Kansas City wins, but New England covers by the half that dogged Dave all last weekend. Give me Cam Newton plus the 7.5, New England with the points, but Kansas City wins the game. Dave?
Toughest game to pick this week. I'm with you. I think Kansas City wins. Will they get to 7.5? I'm going to say the money man, Mahomes. I'm going to say he's going to win this thing. They're going to win by 8. I'm going to get the half point this week. Give me
Drew?
the Chiefs.
Y'all are both right. Hardest game to pick, just with that half-a-point hook. Bill Belichick is like 68% in his career when he's been an underdog, so I'll ride the percentages. I'll take the Pats, but I'm not that confident in it.
And last game, or one more game, Sunday Night Football, San Francisco, 6.5-point favorites over Philly. Bruce Marshall loves the 49ers. I'm going to go against Bruce. I'm going to take Philly, but San Francisco wins the game, but I'm going to take the points, the 6.5 in Philly. Dave?
You're my testimony. You got this early this morning. I'm with Bruce, though. I'm glad to hear
You
it.
are.
I think the Niners win this game. This guy, Nick Mullins, whoever he is, he was brilliant last week. Why not 2 weeks in a row against the team? How can you be for Philly when they played for a tie last week?
Drew?
I'm not for him, and you know I hate ties more than anybody on God's green earth. But I'm going to take Philly. They're slowly but surely starting to turn things around. Carson Wentz, I think, has his best game of the young season thus far, and it might come down to the leg of Memphis alum Jake Elliott. So give me the Eagles.
Fly, Philly, fly, according to Drew. NFL lock, Drew.
I'm going to take a team to get their first win of the season. Give me the Texans minus 3.5 over winless Minnesota.
Houston minus 3.5 over Minnesota. Dave?
I can't believe this line is only 4.5. The New Orleans Saints going into Detroit and only having to give away 4.5 all day long. Give me Drew Brees.
Give me rookie Joe Burrow to get his first win. He was close last week. 35-14, Bengals minus the 3.5 over Jacksonville. I will have the Vegas Raiders as my NFL shock plus the 3.5 over Buffalo. Straight up, they'll get me 2 points over Buffalo. Dave, your NFL shock.
Well, there weren't that many that we could really go with. Your Vegas one is interesting. It was intriguing to me. I know Tampa's all hype. And I think Tampa's going to win this game. But the Chargers are really a decent team. I love this young new quarterback. I've got to go. I'm getting 7.5. Give me the L.A. Chargers. I don't think they win, but I think they'll cover.
Brett, for my shock, I'm going to go against you. I'm going to take Minshew Mania, that stash, versus Baby Burrows and the Bengals. Give me the Jaguars plus the 3.5.
You go against me on that one and go against Joe Burrow. That's our football picks on college and pro, brought to you every Friday by First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas for real estate, commercial, ag, hunting, recreational. Contact them at fnbt.com. That's fnbt.com, or call them in Memphis at 901-498-5763. They've always been stable, secure, and solid since 1886 at First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, and now in Memphis at Ridge Lake Road, part of First National Bank and Trust. When we come back, we wrap up this week, we wrap up this day, we wrap up everything heading into the weekend on Taco Bell Crunch Time next on Sports Time.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's all-night bilayer tablets help you fall asleep naturally and regulate your sleep cycle so that you can take on your tomorrow. Designed with extended-release melatonin, which slowly releases up to 6 hours to help you fall asleep and stay asleep longer through the night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's botanical blend is made with lavender, chamomile, valerian root, and lemon balm botanicals, which have been used for centuries. ZzzQuil Pure Z's all night. Simple tablets with simple ingredients that are 100% drug-free and non-habit forming.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
It's back, the Carhartt Crazy Sale at Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch. Visit Frontier this month for huge markdowns on clearance Carhartt items. The latest fall line just launched, and Frontier is fully stocked. We've got jeans, shirts, bib overalls, jackets, coats, gloves, belts, boots, and more. And to make room for the new items, we've discounted a number of short sleeve plaids and t-shirts. Save up to 50%. All Carhartt jeans are now $5 off. This is the last jean sale of the year, so stock up now for yourself or someone else for the upcoming holidays. Christmas will be here before you know it, so you might as well save some cash now on what you know you'll need. All this month, we are including a buy one, get one half price sale on all novelty t-shirts by Simply Southern, Girly Girl, Live Oak, and more. It's the Carhartt Crazy Sale and more. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch. On the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get insane.
Welcome back in. Final segment on a fabulous Friday. I know it's fabulous in Dallas. I'm assuming it is the same in Memphis. And it is all brought to you, this portion, by Eflin Insurance. Matt Eflin and his group, they do it all. If you are looking for any kind of protection for your family, your home, your auto, they find the product to protect you and the one that fits your budget. If you're looking for small to mid-sized business, they do both, personal and business. They have 15 different vendors that they can find for you to make sure that you get fit with the right protection for your small to mid-sized business. Oh, and I don't want to forget about life insurance. They've got plenty of people that they can search around that finds the right one for all your needs. It is service to cater to you. That's the way Matt Eflin and his group think about it. The Eflin Insurance Group, big Tiger supporters, and taking care of you on so many different fronts. It's crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
Boop! Choo! What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby
is over.
On one, on two, on three. Hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Dave, we learned today from Olin Buchanan that it's not 2012 anymore at A&M. They need to do something. They really haven't made any noise in SEC since that first year with Johnny upsetting Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium. You and Drew, y'all tell me what y'all learned today. I don't know who wants to talk next.
I'll tell you what I learned today is there is different protocol for traveling when you're with a football team. And I can't get specific, but let me just tell you, if you are a star player, if you are a true rotation player that is needed for your team, when you're on an airplane or you're going to room with somebody, whoever that star player is, he is going to room or sit next to another player who already has had COVID, that can't spread the COVID. They are absolutely making sure through protocols now that they put the right players right next to the right players.
Dave, you be safe all weekend. Enjoy the game tomorrow. We will be listening, and we will visit with you on Monday, okay?
You got it.
You got it. Dave Woloshin on the road with the Tigers. Drew, what'd you learn today?
I learned today that it only took a global pandemic, expanded playoffs, for Billy Bean, Brad Pitt to make it past an actual opening series, and I think the A's might actually have what it takes to maybe get it done.
The unknown A's, really good team that maybe baseball fans will start to learn about. Could have done without this. All this for the NBA bubble. All this for Adam Silver. They move heaven and earth to have a great, successful bubble, and right here at the end, basketball injuries occurred. You don't ever know when they're going to come up. Anything can happen in this sport, and it feels now hopeless for Miami. What is it you could have done without?
I for sure could have done without that. I also could have done without the news of the Bahamas and Hawaii Bowl being canceled. Obviously, we understand the travel restrictions. They're not really letting anybody in or out of those places. So now we're down to 39 bowls after the Red Box Bowl canceled earlier. And I know how much hard work it takes to put on one of those, and it's a full year-round job to do for one day, and for all that to be kind of wasted, it really sucks for them.
Yeah, it really does. What is you keeping a close eye on this weekend and tonight?
Keeping a close eye on the NBA playoffs, hopefully see if Miami's got any life, and going to be all college football tomorrow. Obviously, Tigers, SMU, Georgia, Auburn, late night. Going to keep an eye on the Ole Miss Kentucky game, and on Sunday, see how my Ravens bounce back.
They do have to have the bounce back. I'm going to keep an eye on Alabama and Nick Saban against a protege. We know how that usually or always works out. He always wins, and he usually thumps them in doing so. The Tigers, they have to slow down Shane Buechele and the Ponies, get some stops on defense. We're not talking about a shutout. We're not talking about 17. We're not talking about 20. Just keep it around 21, 24, 28 or so. 2 0-1 teams in Nashville, LSU at Vandy. The South's oldest rivalry in Athens. Georgia's quarterback play, we'll be watching that. The Pirate against the Pit Boss in Starkville. Mizzou at Rocky Top. South Carolina in the Swamp. And nationally, Oklahoma State at Iowa State. We're keeping a close eye on all things Ole Miss in Lexington against Kentucky, the NBA Finals, the baseball, the Sunday, and the NFL. We will watch it all. We want to thank Bruce Marshall, Olin Buchanan, Glenn Rogers, Andy Schiffman, Dave joining us from Dallas. For Drew, I'm Brett. Everyone have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar